recess period. I know nobody had the chance to rest. We were busy with registration weekends and other party activities that we had to do as members of parliament. But I hope that this very short cycle that we will have fruitful meetings. Colleagues, before we continue, may I ask that we have a moment for silent prayer or meditation? Thank you. Nosipho, any apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson. Yes, I received one apology from Ms. Kihakilwa. She's on the platform, but she indicated that she will have limited participation due to bereavement in her family. That is all, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Betty, our sincere condolences to you and your family. And we hope you get the strength to go through this process. Colleagues, we've got one item on the agenda today, but before we go there, Minister, welcome to you and Deputy Ministers. I'm not sure whether newly elected Deputy Minister Bloem is on the platform. I haven't seen him, but Minister, maybe you would like to introduce the Deputy Minister and what the functions of that Deputy Minister will be, whether he changed since Deputy Minister has left us, and then we will get the department, you and the department, to present the first quarterly expenditure report to the committee. Over to you, Minister.
Chair, thank you very much. Good morning to you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. After a long time, good morning. One feels happy to meet with you again. Let me also greet the parliamentary staff, my two deputy ministers, Minister Mahlobo and the new Deputy Minister, Dr. Bloem. And I want to thank you, Portfolio Committee, for all the support of working together with the previous Deputy Minister, Sithulo. Let me greet the DG and the entire management. Chair, the entire management of the senior management is at a boardroom in the DG's office, and other members of TWS who are provincial aides have connected from their various provinces. Thank you very much, Chair. And to all women on this platform, I want to say happy August month, which is a Women's Month, as we celebrate 70th anniversary of the Jubilee Platinum of that significant Women's March. We really give our honor to those women and our heartfelt condolences to Honorable Kehakilwe for the bereavement in the family. Chair, we really appreciate that you have invited us to come and present our quarterly report. This report will reflect both the progress we've made in advancing water security and service delivery, as well as the challenges we continue to face. Our focus remains on accelerating access to water services, strengthening regulations, improving infrastructure delivery, and implementing measures to restore the department's financial sustainability. Honorable Chair and honorable members, one of the department's major priorities in the is the National Water Access Acceleration Program to reach out to unserved communities. This program is intended to accelerate universal access as we are facing SDG 6 2030, of which most countries are unable to meet SDG 60. Not a single country in the world has met that. I was in New York 2 weeks ago on the SDG 6 review and other SDGs, but it is a challenge throughout the world. Chair, the continued escalation of municipal debt remains one of our biggest risks facing the water sector. This debt is placing severe pressure on the financial sustainability of our water boards. And Chair, we have done everything in our power, as you might attest to that, to ensure that water boards get paid. We continue implementing the revenue enhancement strategy to address this challenge. 9 debt collectors who are agencies have been appointed to assist municipalities in terms of paying our water boards. So we have appointed those 9 debt collection agencies in collaboration with all our water entities. Credit control measures are being enforced. Equitable share withholding to be applied as a measure. We have seen that they've made commitment, hence the National Treasurer has released their equitable share, but we'll keep on monitoring to ensure that they adhere to what they've signed. The water debt relief incentives scheme is being implemented in some municipalities. Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, to continue to provide support to 107 distressed municipalities that were identified through the Not Drop report, which we tabled in this committee. We are also working with the Water Partnership Office. Municipalities that are benefiting from Water Partnership Office on their non-revenue program include, amongst others, eThekwini, the city of Johannesburg, Mangaung Metro, Buffalo City, as well as the Nelson Mandela Metro. Whilst water reuse program is being implemented in eThekwini, Tshwane Metro, George, Mangaung Metro. Chair, as I conclude, the department has recorded important progress during the first quarter, particularly when we talk about expanding access to water services, advancing strategic infrastructure project, strengthening regulation, and improving governance arrangement. At the same time, we can acknowledge the challenges relating to expenditure performance, municipal debt. Focused recovery measures are being implemented to improve performance during the remainder of this financial year. We remain committed, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, to ensuring a reliable water service, protecting water resources, strengthening municipal support, and restoring financial sustainability across the sector. I will now hand over to you, Chair, to the Director General, who will speak to the presentation, because the presentation was shared with honorable members. So we'll just talk to the presentation without really reading the presentation. I thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members. I'm done, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Are you a chair now? Don't grab power.
Colleagues, I can see there's a challenge with Honorable Bassan's connection. I can see it on the list. I'm going to give him a call and try and see what's going on. Give me a second.
Colleagues, just my apology. I was kicked off and trying to reconnect. I hope my signal will be stable. I see the Minister has concluded and the department will now continue with this presentation. You've got 30 minutes to do your presentation, whereafter we will then ask the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to you and good morning, honourable members. Good morning, Minister and Deputy Minister and colleagues. As indicated by the Minister, some of our senior managers are sitting together in the DG's boardroom in the department, but some of our senior managers are at the first strategic planning session of the newly appointed board of the National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency today, and they're also sitting as a group at that venue. I'm not sitting with either group because I had a TV interview this morning, so I'm sitting somewhere else as well. As usual, I'm going to give the executive summary of our presentation on our financial and non-financial performance for the first quarter of this financial year. Next slide, please, Suko. Next slide. As indicated by the Minister, during that quarter, we put a lot of focus on ramping up our National Water Access Acceleration Program, including carrying out more than 500 technical assessments, focusing on site verification, solution scoping, and the development of business plans for access projects in rural communities. And all of this work enabled, as you saw in the media, our ministers to successfully launch quite a number of projects under this program on Mandela Day. We also worked on ensuring that this program would be well implemented, and we went through the necessary regulatory processes to appoint 3 of our water boards to assist with as implementing agents where the municipalities are lacking in capacity to implement these access projects. Next slide, please, Zuko. With regard to the water boards, we, in addition to appointing those 3 water boards to implement projects under the Access Program, we are generally, on an ongoing basis, increasing the appointments of our water boards to function as implementing agents for the expenditure of the infrastructure grants, the WISIG and RBIG grants, where municipalities are lacking capacity to do so. And that's one of the reasons why we've had improved levels of expenditure on the grants. As indicated by the Minister, municipal debt to water boards remains a problem, but honourable members would have seen in the media that we worked well with the National Treasury for this last transfer of equitable grant allocations to municipalities in terms of giving them information on the municipalities which were not paying their current invoices in full to the water boards. There was a lot of media coverage of it, and the Financial and Fiscal Commission went so far as to say that National Treasury was breaking the law by withholding the equitable share. But it was quite successful. Quite a few of the municipalities did pay their current invoices in full after their equitable share was withheld, but not all of them, such as Matjabeng, for example, still didn't pay its current invoice in full. Generally, Vaal Central and Magalies Water do continue to experience liquidity constraints, but they're still not on the verge of bankruptcy like they were before, and the withholding of the equitable shares is a major factor in enabling them to remain going concerns. Next slide, please. As members will know, we released the full green drop report and the blue drop and no drop progress reports. And during the quarter, we focused on working with the municipalities to give us corrective action plans and offer support to them. And the number of poorly performing municipalities, that is municipalities with drinking water systems and or wastewater systems in a poor critical state of performance, now stands at 107 since the release of the full green drop report. Next slide, please, Suko. Some other key milestones that were achieved in that quarter is that the board of the National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency was approved by Cabinet and appointed, and new boards were appointed for the Bokma CMA and the Lepeli Northern Water. We completed the transfer of staff from DWS to the new catchment management agencies. That process is now complete, and the catchment management agencies have now been informed by DWS that they are now free to fill their vacant positions now that the staff transfer process is completed. They're now free to advertise their remaining vacant positions. The emergency works at Clanwilliam Dam were completed. That was quite a major milestone. There was quite a lot of concern about some dam safety issues at Clanwilliam Dam, but that has now been completed and those issues have been addressed. We commenced with detailed design work for the new Foxwood Dam in the Eastern Cape to supply Adelaide and surrounding areas. And just an example of the ongoing focus that we have on regulation and taking regulatory measures against sewage pollution by municipalities. During that quarter, Knysna municipality was fined 10 million for sewage pollution by the Knysna Regional Court following charges laid by DWS and DFFE, and was instructed by the court to use the funds to carry out repairs at its wastewater treatment works. We also started construction on several important water services projects through our ongoing WISIG and RBIG grant-funded programs, including the upgrading of Nandoni water treatment works in Limpopo and the Morokweng bulk water supply scheme in Northwest. And during that quarter, 50 of our water services infrastructure grant-funded projects were completed. Next slide, please, Zuko. With your permission, Chair, I'd now like to hand over to Babawa to present on performance information for the quarter. Babawa.
Thank you, DG. Good morning to the honorable members, the minister, and my colleagues in the platform. This slide just indicates a reflection of a slight regression in terms of our expenditure as compared to the same period in the previous financial year. It's just an overall regression of 8.1%. If you go to slide 11, next slide, Zuko, this actually indicates a slight improvement if you do a year-on-year comparison in our performance, 3% as compared to the previous period in the previous financial year. So you'll see that there's improvement across all the two of the programs. Then if you go to slide 12, I just need to indicate that in the current financial year, we increased our target for preferential procurement, and you'll see that previously we would target 15%. We increased it to 30% across the board. We performed well overall in terms of procuring from SMMEs. We also managed to perform better in the first quarter in terms from exempted micro enterprises. But qualifying small enterprises, we managed to obtain 20% of our 30% target. If you go to the next slide from the designated groups, you'll see that in terms of procurement from Black-owned companies, it is currently 60% with just over R1 billion in the first quarter procurement. Women, we actually managed to obtain the target of 40% with a 3% improvement. That amounted to 4.7 million, 407 million. For youth and people with disabilities, we did not fare well in this quarter. As we have explained in those notes, we don't necessarily get those designated groups to always respond to our request for quotations. And in certain instances, when we allocate companies during the bidding process, it does not necessarily mean that they might obtain successful bidding. Then if you go to slide 15, Zuko, this is just an indication of the performance for the program 1, the sub-programs, and then slide 16, it's just an indication of the achievements for the quarter. But if you allow me, I would want to dwell on slide 17, which is just an indication of the areas of underperformance for that program. The main reason why we could not implement our audit plan, action plan as improved, we had 8 resignations over the period, which affected the conclusion of the reports. But you'll see that since these reports were in draft by the end of the quarter, We are in process to filling these vacant positions, and also they will be concluded in the second quarter. Slide 18, just an indication of the areas in our annual communications plan for the year. 2 of our activities were affected, resulting in our target not being met, but we've deferred all these activities to the second quarter. Slide 19, Chairperson, the CFO has got detailed slides that indicates why we have not fared well in our financial recovery plan, our budget, and also debtors days. I would not necessarily want to repeat on what he's going to focus on, but slide 20, it is an indication of what the DG was actually talking to. The target in terms of the establishment of the agency is partially met. The one activity that is just between us in achieving is to ensure that the company is actually registered with the CIPC. As soon as that is done, we would be good to go in terms of achieving that particular target. Also, when it comes to the transformation of irrigation boards, there are certain stakeholder engagements that we're actually having to agree on these transformation principles to ensure that there are options that are finalized and the proposals are acceptable to all. Then if you go to the second program, slide 21, just an indication of the overall sub-programs. 22 and 23, Chairperson, is just the achievements for the quarter. But slide 24, it's just an indication of the areas of underperformance in terms of record of implementation decisions. You'll see there are some that are actually affected by the procurement process that actually took longer than expected. Also, challenges that we experienced in terms of achieving some bids that exceeded the allocated budget, which warranted us that we had to go and restart the process. So we have explained those in that particular slide. Slide 25, it's just an indication of the determining of resource quality objectives. We just had delays in our translation of the information. We are required to translate at least into 2 official languages, which took longer than anticipated, but that is now going to be completed in the second quarter. Slide 26, we had a plan to have 5 of our projects in preparation for implementation. 2 of those have actually had some challenges. Nwamitwa, the biggest one, there is a land claims issue that we are still trying to resolve. We explained in that slide that we are still consulting and with the Department of Land Claims in the Limpopo area. And as soon as that process is actually finalized, we should be good to go. Also, the DG actually mentioned the subsequent issues that happened in the Foxwood Dam. I would not really want to dwell on that. Slide 27, it is just an indication of our conveyance systems. We've indicated all the challenges per canal that we're actually facing. You will see that the biggest thing is that we actually afforded some impractical days in terms of dry days, which actually affect our ability to to perform as planned. But we are now doing bi-weekly monitoring to ensure that there's a maximum production, particularly during the dry schedule. And we're actually currently negotiating with the farmers to grant these work days during weekdays instead of the weekends as they had agreed to. Slide 28, this is one of the bills. Both actually our bills have been submitted to Parliament. We had hoped that by the end of the quarter we would have deliberations in the NCOP. but we could not. We are still awaiting that invitation from the NCOP. Then licensing activities, there's a slight regression as compared to the previous fourth quarter. This is just affected by those transfers into the CMAs. Some resources did not fully transfer into those entities. Now the CMAs are actually engaging in the recruitment process to augment their capacity in that space. In terms of the economic regulator, which is slide 30, Zuko. Yes, thank you. We just, this process of procuring that specialist services was just delayed. We did not get the suitable bidders, so we are still going to finalize the process in the subsequent quarter. Then the last program, this is just an indication of the performance of the sub-programs, which reflects a slight improvement as compared to the previous quarters. Slide 32, indication of the achievements for the quarter. We have disaggregated them, but the slide I would want to actually indicate on slide 33, Zuko, it's just an indication of the performance for the quarter in terms of the construction. You see that our big projects are performing well. Just a couple of provinces that did not meet their targets as planned, but you'll see that there are not that many. Just the completion rate that is lagging behind. Also, some of our water services infrastructure grant projects did not start as planned. Just 2 provinces had their targets met for the first quarter, but you'll see that the completion is actually slightly improving in the middle of the municipal financial year. In terms of our budget for facility infrastructure projects, there are additional projects that were accelerated in the Western Cape as included there, and we managed to complete 1 in the quarter. Then the interventions are the same as we've had, ministerial interventions, 8 as we've had. Then we have actually disaggregated in the subsequent slide, Chairperson, the mega, large and small projects, and the reasons per project are actually indicated there. You will see that most common is that some it's contractual. If you go to slide 34, Zuko, you'll see that most there's issues are practically the same: contractor non-performance, procurement issues in the municipal space. We have actually highlighted them in slide 34 and slide 35. We have actually indicated examples of those projects that are actually experiencing these ones. And then slide 36 is also the same issue. We've actually indicated those challenges in terms of the water services projects. And then the slide 38, it's just an indication of the same thing of the water services amendment bill, which we're still awaiting the NCOP invitation. And then slide 38, then it's also the water services infrastructure grant. We've just summarized all the common denominating challenges that are experienced in this space. Chairperson, thank you very much. This is my last slide. I'm handing over to the CFO for the financial performance.
Thank you. CFO?
Yes, thank you, and good morning, Chairperson and Portfolio Committee, Minister, DG, and colleagues. Chair, I will provide a summary of the financial performance for the quarter, supporting what my colleagues have just indicated, and Minister. So at the end of the first quarter, we spent 13.4% of the budget. We planned to spend 22%. And the summary of the areas of underspending are in all the economic classifications. Compensation of employees is at 23%, goods and services 13.7%, And mainly the reasons for the underspending on goods and services relates to the invoice that were still being certified for the Department of Public Works, our rentals, as well as State Information Technology Agency. Then also on transfers and subsidies, we had low spending. And the main reason for that is that we withheld some of the transfers. In the main, it had to do with compliance requirements. For example, DBSA, we scheduled to transfer 518 million, but because of changes in banking details that we realized upon trying to make payments, we had to engage with DBSA that they align and correct their central supply database information. So all those transfers that were not processed in the first quarter, they were processed in the second quarter. And then for payments for capital assets, as indicated by my colleague, we also have some of the implementing agents where we are experiencing delays with the procurement on the side of both the water boards and municipalities. But we are working with those implementing agents, and the department is providing the support. Recovery plans were also developed for all those affected projects so that they can be accelerated. This is just a summary again in number 10 figures of what I've presented earlier on per program, as well as economic classification. For our infrastructure projects, this is also the summary. All the conditional grants are scheduled to be transferred in the second quarter in line with the approved schedule from National Treasury. So we're expecting expenditure to come in the second quarter for the conditional grants. Then for the catchment management agencies, we managed to release all the funding for augmentation in the first quarter in line with their approved project implementation plans and the drawings that Treasury has approved. Same with the water trading entity, we did transfer all those allocations. The Development Bank of Southern Africa, I did indicate DBSA that there were some challenges. We had to ensure that before we release the funds, that all those banking details and their details on the central supply database are correct. So we experienced those challenges. We engaged DBSA, and they were remedied in the second quarter, and we obtained approval for the release of the funds in the second quarter. This is a summary per province of all the transfers that we make to municipalities. The details are at the annexure of this presentation. So this is for the RBIC 5B. Similarly, with the water services infrastructure grant, we do have allocations there, 4.3 billion going to the various municipalities, which are in the annexure. And the transfers are scheduled, as I've indicated, in the second and the remaining quarters of the year. This is where the department is paying for work done on signing off the invoices, verifying the work done, and signing also the certificates of work. So we do have some of the provinces that were lagging behind. As indicated, there are recovery plans, and where necessary, there will also be a process of reallocating the budget to performing projects, which will then plow back to those provinces when they are ready to absorb the budget. And then on the water trading entity, we were at 25% at the end of the quarter, and the spending per program as well as economic classification is also reflected there. The water trading entities funded from both the augmentation that is coming through National Treasury as well as the raw water sales that we are recovering from the users. Part C of the presentation summarizes the financial recovery plan that also Minister made reference to, that we are still continuing to implement the recovery plans with all those key outputs, the first one being the audit, that we are ensuring that the recommendations of the AGSA, as well as our internal audit, they are being implemented, and some of the key outputs are also listed on this slide. Regarding trade receivables, Chairperson, when we closed Q1, the trade receivables were 27 billion, and our collections for the same period is 3.9 billion. As indicated by my colleague Babalwa, then the debtors collection date were days. We are making all the efforts to ensure that we increase the collection, which is very key to ensuring that even the collection days are within the target that we have set for ourselves. We are still behind the target that we have set for ourselves, but we are currently making sure that we do maximize collection, which we need to be able to fund those operations and maintenance within the infrastructure branch. Also, to be able to finance those loans that TCTA is having. A summary of the measures that we have been implementing are also listed there, from credit control to intergov engagements, and also support from our executive authority. Then the issues around improper expenditure. This is just a summary that we presented before, that we are required to comply with this instruction note in managing incidents of unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. So all these are the requirements that we are adhering to. And as at the end of the first quarter, this is a summary of where we are. Unauthorized expenditure is still part of the scope-up process. We are waiting for that process. We've been engaging with National Treasury. And then on the regarding fruitless and wasteful expenditure, we are still having 24 million that relates to construction unit costs. Those costs, Chairperson, they include also historic balance of 15 million, which is being pursued through our legal services. There were some irregularities there that were identified and investigated, and the matter had to be taken through the state attorney to follow up with the affected individuals. Some left, some as the one is still in the department. Then the remaining 5 billion on the regular expenditure is at different stages, which I will summarize in the subsequent slides. On the main account, it starts with the Guyane, the old Guyane irregular expenditure, and those other projects, also indicating the status there where we are with the court cases, as well as the issues of condonation. On leaks is also part of the work that is being done by SIU. And then on the water trading entity, this is the summary as well. We have summarized the status of each incident or case of irregular expenditure, and still the same court cases and internal disciplinary processes that are underway. This slide summarizes the status, narrating where we are. Similarly to this second slide, it summarizes as well where we are. That was for the main account. And on the water trading entity, we do have the status as well for all these cases. It continues until slide number 58. And then slide number 59, we summarize some of the measures that we have put in place to ensure that we do not incur all those high amounts of improper expenditure as it happened historically in the department. So we are still implementing those. And this is just a trend analysis of irregular expenditure for both main account and the water trading entity. On the main account, we are currently having zero balances. The water trading entity, there's historic contract on Glen William, which is still incurring expenditure, but we did indicate as well that those contracts were terminated. And then this is the status of fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Currently, we haven't reported any. The balances that are being carried forward from the previous years on the water trading entity are part of the investigation. Thank you very much, Chairperson. This is a summary of the financial report.
Thank you very much for a comprehensive report. Minister, would you like to add before we go to questions?
No, Chair, I'm covered. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. DG, would you like to add something?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Reddy, as usual, you are the first to start with the questions.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. To you and my colleagues, a very good morning to all of you. Let me thank the presenters and also acknowledge the point raised by the DG, where he stated that water boards are now going to be used as implementing agents in failing municipalities. It's something that we've been asking for in this committee for quite some time. I've particularly made this point, and now it is important, Chair, that where we have such cases where the water boards are implementing agents in municipalities, that what needs to happen now is that we need to get reports at every meeting, a report followed by a presentation by the CE or the chairperson of that water board, giving us a report on how the work is progressing in municipalities. Perhaps we need to consider a joint approach, joint committee, joint sitting with the Department of COCTA. Now, Chairperson, the first quarter report that has been presented is deeply worrying. We are presented with a department that seems to have mastered the art of explaining failure instead of delivering water. The department, and let's look at the brass facts here. The department has spent only 13.4% of its budget against a planned expenditure of 22%. Even more alarming, and I want members to pay very careful attention to this one, is Program 3, Water Services Management, which received almost 15 billion rands, yet managed to spend only 4.6%. This is the very program, Chair, that is responsible for delivering water infrastructure to our people. And we complain, we hear in eThekwini that water losses, non-revenue water, has gone to 65%. And we can't be sitting down and then finding a department that could be responsible for finding that solution is lagging behind the way it is currently. Chair, South Africans are not dying from a shortage of reports. They're suffering because taps are dry, sewage is flowing into rivers, and billions allocated by Parliament remains unspent while communities wait. What concerns us in the MK party is that the reasons given are exactly the same reasons we have heard for years: procurement delays, contractor failures, funding constraints, land access disputes, and community disruptions. These have become permanent excuses rather than exceptional challenges. If the department already knows these recurring problems, why were they not addressed before the financial year began? Where is the consequence management? Where is the accountability? Chairperson, this committee cannot continue accepting the same explanations quarter after quarter while service delivery continues to collapse. My question to the department is this: can the department identify one major water infrastructure project that was delayed because of procurement or contractor failures, where a senior official was disciplined, suspended, dismissed, or held financially accountable? If none exists, how can South Africans believe these recurring failures will ever end? If there has been no accountability, then the department is effectively admitting that failure has become institutionalized. The MK party believes South Africa deserves better than explanations. They deserve water, functioning infrastructure, and a department that takes responsibility for its failures. I thank you, and I await a response. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Minister?
Chair?
Yes, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much, Honorable Reddy. Honorable Chair and Honorable members, we are responsible for bulk water supply. We are responsible to assist municipality with infrastructure, water services infrastructure grant, as well as regional bulk infrastructure grant. There is no way where the department has institutionalized failures. When we after you have passed a budget, we transfer to municipalities, the water service authorities. It is at that point which we came to you early 2025, where we said we have since noticed that most of the projects are not completed on time because of delays in terms of tendering at a municipal level. And we have given them enough time because that money has been transferred to them to Schedule 5B. We came to the portfolio committee to say we are now going to convert Schedule 5B to Schedule 6B, and we take over and bring in our water board as an implementing agent. But first and foremost, that those funds get transferred to municipalities. That is how we work. And the issue of water losses, Chair, it's not our responsibility as Department of Water and Sanitation. I've been saying this, Chair, and I will keep on saying this, and it will not assist us to politicize water. We understand all the challenges, but at 80% of the concerns that we always get from Honorable Reddy, they are municipality-related concerns, and we get crucified on matters that are not ours. We'll take full responsibility where we have not done right. I will invite the DDG responsible for water services, DDG Mate, to respond to other questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. DDG.
Thank you, Minister, and greetings to Chair. As Minister has indicated, I think most of the reasons that were given by Honorable Reddy are exactly what is happening on the ground. But just to add to what Minister has indicated, if you look at the financial expenditure now to date, the concerns about the money that has been spent vis-a-vis what the National Treasury has actually allocated to us, you will realize in the presentation that where is Schedule 6B, whether it's WSIG or RBIG, there is an expenditure there because these are the grants where us as the department were appointing implementing agent, and in this case, water boards. However, when it comes to 5B, the reason why you see a zero expenditure there, these are direct transfers. And based on the DORA framework, we only transfer around August. So in the next day or two, those direct transfers are going to be sent to those municipalities. It will show on our side as expenditure because the money will have been transferred to those municipalities that are supposed to receive direct transfers. Now, when you look at it from this quarter, we must remind the Honorable Members, Chair, that our quarter one as the department is actually the last quarter for municipal years. So that gap shows that, one, when you look at our financial expenditure and you compare it with what the municipalities are going through their last lap of the financial year. So when we start our first quarter, municipalities are basically in their last quarter. So there's that gap on the expenditure consolidation. But it doesn't mean that we will not be able to make those transfers. I think some of the reasons that Minister has indicated are quite clear. And also the fact that Honorable Reddy has indicated some of the challenges that are having in a municipal level. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much. Honorable Reddy.
Chairperson, Chairperson, let me thank those that replied. But let me make the point. I raised a few issues which have not been responded to. One, the question of the intervention by water boards. And I asked that reports be presented to this committee and that we consider a joint meeting with COCTA so that we could also get the COCTA response to this. As the minister quite correctly points out, that this is a local government issue. I then raised the question about those red flags in the report, whether there's been any consequence management, whether any officials have been suspended or disciplined because of the failure to spend the monies, and we see that it hasn't been spent, quite large amounts. There's been no response to that. Now, I want to take issue with the fact that the department says it's not my fault, the issue of water losses. The average non-revenue water in the country is sitting at around 50%. That means 50% of water that is supplied by this water department to water boards and to municipalities is unpaid for. Don't you think that that is one of the reasons why municipalities and why the system is failing financially? And now we say it's not my responsibility, so I don't care because it is a municipality problem. I think therein lies our problem. We need to confront this elephant in the room of water losses head on and attend to this issue jointly with every stakeholder in this country. And we, as this water department, we need to take the lead in bringing these stakeholders together and finding a joint solution, because that solution is what is going to ultimately determine the success of our water program and whether people, in fact, are able to access water at an affordable rate. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Minister, would you like to respond to that?
Honorable DM Mashoba will respond. There is no water that is leaking between the raw water supply and the bulk. Honorable Reddy knows very well where the water is leaking. He knows very well. And we have never shied away in raising that. Hence, we work with municipalities. Hence, we have non-negotiables. Maybe you must assist us. What more should we do? What must we do more in the space of municipality, where municipality has an old infrastructure, where municipality is not maintaining its water infrastructure, where there is loss of water, and it is us who go there and say, municipality, you are standing at 47%, you are standing at 28%. There are some municipalities that have turned around the situation. For instance, in Ekurhuleni, it's no longer the same. After our water in Daba, non-negotiables, they've turned a tide to ensure that they reduce their water leaks. What more should we do? Maybe he has to assist us. Dear Mashoba will respond.
Deputy Minister.
No, thank you so much, Chairperson, and a very good morning to you, the members, and Her Excellency, our minister and the team. I think, Honorable Reddy, when Minister responded, let's manage the issues well. Minister has indicated, Chairperson, we do provide support, and the support has limitations. One of the things that Honorable Reddy, we are absolutely correct, is that probably a joint engagement between yourselves and the Committee on Cooperative Governance will help, because we can fix a particular component related to water, but the fundamental problems lies with the local government. For an example, in this report that the Minister has led in presentation, it's her who indicates that even in the National Action Plan on the Water Committee, one of the biggest issues was to deal with the capacity constraints of the more than 105 water services authorities out of 144. And that's where you find us that we've deployed our water boards, made them available to support these municipalities. But equally, you can't use a decree, a chairperson, to say these people must take these water boards by force or not. For an example, the presidential intervention at Tegwini, where Comrade Radio are coming from, Umgeni was assigned by Minister. Shinsi came in to help them with the issues of non-revenue water. Umgeni tried to help them, but at Tegwini, as an example, instead of giving them a reasonable period to support them, they gave them only 12 months. And when you are looking at Ethekwini as an example, we are supposed to replace the pipes. If Umgeni is going to replace the pipes and there is no commitment by another sphere of government to actually say, let's have a proper contract, you can come in here, we are going to be able to get your money. At a particular point, you know that the contract was terminated, was not renewed. When it was not renewed, even the wastewater system started to have a problem. Go and look at the situation where Minister deployed Mfuleni. She deployed this water board to assist in Mfuleni around wastewater management. And then you look at the situation recently, everybody has been complaining about the problem of 2008 in Hammanskraal. In other words, we are not saying that we are actually letting local government to fail, but our intervention has limitation that we need to do. But within the limited statutory powers we have, the idea to hold back some of these particular grants that were supposed to give them as direct grants is the response to the minister. Probably the discussion we must have is the constitutional architecture in terms of Schedule 4 of the Constitution that has made this function to be a sole responsibility around municipality water services delivery, because it's a clear function that is given to local government. If we're going to intervene, what do we need to do? Remember, even the issue of Section 63 interventions, Chairperson. Section 63 intervention, you can't do it without the enabling legislation of imposing Section 139. And when Section 139 is imposed, you can then be in a position to actually do some of those things. But as we are saying, non-negotiables that we're being told to fix the leaks. We know that we are correct, that they are losing so much, and they don't have the money. That's why we're actually saying this is how we're going to fund it. This is where the money will come from. These are some of the particular issues. But trying to resolve only the water issue without resolving the systematic issues of governance, of leadership, of viability, of the professionalization of local government, and the issues of payments of services, which is the user pay principle, Chairperson, it would be incomplete. That's why the two, in terms of government, there is a correlation in terms of the reforms of fixing local government vis-a-vis what the president is chairing, and the minister, the intervention has been leading in terms of the limited resources. We are doing our best, but if there are other ideas, as we have always said, Honorable Rating, the minister and ourselves, we have never claimed to have monopoly of wisdom of all the issues that are affecting our country. That's why we depend on you as a portfolio committee, experts and communities themselves on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, DG.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Reddy asked about disciplinary action. The first is that legally you can't take disciplinary action against people who are not your employees. And the municipal, so we therefore as DWS cannot take disciplinary action against employees of the municipality. But with regard to our own employees, with regard to our projects that we manage ourselves, we do currently have several disciplinary cases against some of our supply chain officials related to charges of not managing procurement processes for some of our projects in the past as they were supposed to have been managed. So as DWS, we do act in that regard. One other point, Chairperson, is that construction projects by their nature often have unforeseen delays, not only in South Africa, but all over the world. Most construction projects all over the world go over time or over budget because of unforeseen issues which arise, such as hard rock underground that you can't tell beforehand, or heavy rain, which recently delayed our Magalies Waters project in Hammanskraal. And in South Africa, there's quite often disruption of the projects by communities as well, which can't be foreseen beforehand. So for that reason, it's better to look at, if you're going to assess performance in terms of expenditure, to look on an annual basis rather than a quarterly basis, because these kind of unforeseen delays result in changes in timeframes. And for the past few years, DWS has fully spent or reached near full expenditure on its 2 grants through improved management of the construction projects and using the water boards more and working with the municipalities closely to ensure that overall the grant is fully spent. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think that was comprehensively explained.
Sorry, Chair. I'm so sorry to do this.
Yes, I'm coming to you, Honourable Reddy.
Okay. Sorry, Chair. Yeah, I'm sorry to do this, but I'm not sure whether maybe I'm not being clear about this. When I speak about consequence management, I'm referring to the report that we presented today. And it seems that we are being presented, or this report is being sugar-coated, and certain concerning elements of the report are not being highlighted. Let me illustrate this by way of a simple example, right? Water services management, the department only spent 4.6% against a target which has not been achieved. Now, my question is, the officials responsible for achieving these targets, what consequence management has been put in place? If we do not address this now in Q1, then when we come to Q4, we will see that the problem will become an endemic problem. It's now failure within the department to meet targets has become institutionalized. That is the point I'm raising. Let's not deviate and talk about water losses. That was just a side comment that I made. I'm referring to the report that was presented to us, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we understand that. Honourable Reddy, you're more than welcome to ask a follow-up question on this in the second round. Honourable Kegakilwe. Honourable Kegakilwe, your hand is up.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, Minister, Deputy Ministers, DG, and the officials from the department, and then our portfolio committee support staff. And good morning, honorable members. Chairperson, let me welcome and appreciate the report presented. And to be honest, it's just the true reflection of what is going on. And I hope that in the next quarter, the department will improve on its performances. My first question, Chairperson, is with regard to Malut Apofung and Machabeng bulk intervention, Go Free State. The department has reported that the Machabeng local municipality has not yet fully taken over the operation and maintenance of 16 pump stations, despite the official handover by the contractor. As a result,
Colleagues, I'm not sure whether it's my bandwidth or the honourable member. Can you hear her?
We all lost her.
Chair, we still can't hear her.
Yeah, colleagues, my apology. I'm not sure what's going on this morning. Honourable, I lost the honourable member, but I thought it was her bandwidth, but it seems mine. The bulk intervention in the Free State, that if she has asked the question, answered the question, asked the question, can we ask then, Minister, can you respond to that?
Chairperson.
Yes.
Are we asking only one or three for
No,
the
no,
first.
no, no. Sorry, I thought you've asked more than I just not been knocked off. My apology. You can continue with your second one.
Chair,
Okay, the
sorry.
second,
Betty, sorry. Honorable Kigilwe, we didn't hear any of your questions. You actually tuned out basically the whole
Okay.
time. I think, Chair,
So
she
it
should
was-
restart again with all her 3 questions.
Yeah, so I thought it was only my bandwidth, but I just got bulk intervention in a Free State, and that was the last I heard. Honourable Member, can you maybe just start and give your 3 questions?
okay, thank you, Chairperson. The department has reported that Machabeng local municipality has not yet fully taken over the operation and maintenance of 16 pump stations, despite the official handover by the contractor. As a result, the contractors from the Val Central Water Board, they continue to provide support for this facility. I therefore now request the department to indicate how it plans to resolve this and make it a point that Machabeng take responsibility of these pump stations, because they will require regular maintenance and oversight to ensure that reliable water service delivery is provided to the community. My second question is Go Northwest projects implemented by Magali's chairperson. Chairperson, the projects in the Northwest implemented by Magalis are progressing very slowly, which is negatively affecting both financial resources and water access in the region. The original completion date, Chairperson, for Brett's water treatment works was March 2018. And then for Mafikeng South bulk water supply, it was June 2020. And for Setlagole bulk water supply, it was February 2015. The department needs to confirm the status of Setlagole bulk water supply and Mafikeng South bulk water supply, both of which the completion date were revised to June 2016 and June 2026 and July 2026 respectively. And the department should assure the committee that the Brett's water treatment works involving the refurbishment and upgrade of water treatment facility, the upgrading of raw water pump station, and the construction of associated civil, mechanical, and electrical work is completed within the revised date of September 2026. Chairperson, my last question is with regard to the resignation of 8 internal audit officials. I just want to find out if the department did the exit interview. If yes, what were the reasons for resignations? And if not, why not? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Minister?
Thank you very much, Chair. Myself and you, Chair, are experiencing some connectivity. Dear Mahlobo, followed by Dr. Risimati, and the DG will respond to Honorable Kigilwe's questions. It is true that there were a lot of delays, especially around Northwest. Honorable Kigilwe will remember that the so-called water mafias and water extortionists, they started in Northwest. A lot of things have happened there. Hence, she's correct to cite this project as back as from 2015 that we are now trying to bring them to speed. But the PH of Northwest is also here. To you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's taking responsibility from the department?
Chairperson, let's
Mr.
allow
Minister.
firstly the technical team led by the DG and the DG to respond. And then what I will do, I will then come after them, because I know the issue of Maluta performed party. The latest Dr. Ndili is there under the DG's command in Machabeng, including the other issue Minister referred to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Martin?
Yes, thank you, DG. And I have asked the provincial head minister to give the high-level details, but what I want to maybe register specifically on Brett and Mafikeng as well as Tlhagole. We have had a lot of delays from our construction unit as well. There were change of scope in some of the projects, and then there was scope creep where the original scope had to be changed. New activities were realized that needed to be integrated. It's work stoppages as well as terminations of contractors. So those are the basic challenges that basically made the projects to be delayed. But I want the provincial head chair. I'll start with the one for Northwest Ulkolo. It's in the platform, just to give the details to that. And thereafter, I will ask Dr. Ntili to respond on the Machabeng matter. Lukolo.
Thank you very much, DDG, and greetings to the Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Members, Honorable Minister and Deputy Minister, DG and DDGs. Thank you very much, DDG. On the first project of Mafikeng Balquarter South, the project, indeed, it had some delays. There was a contractor that was appointed for mechanical and electrical. During the stage, it was closer to completion within that particular work package. It went to a state where it was solvent.
We have a problem with Mr. Lukolo disappearing.
We can't hear him.
Dear.
Yeah, you were cutting out. Can you maybe just restart? We lost you where you said that completion of the electrical work.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. The contractor, it went to a stage where it was solvent, and then it was terminated, Honorable Chairperson. And then subsequent to that, the Mahalis Water had to restart the process of appointing a new contractor. Hence now the revised completion of the project, it's within this particular financial year. I can confirm and affirm that, Honorable Chair, we are heading towards its completion around September this financial year. Then the one of Sitlahola, it also experienced the very same challenge in terms of number of termination. And there were also number of vandalism within the pump station and the boreholes within that particular area. Hence, there were delays. As a result, now the contractor that was appointed in Sislahole recently had to be terminated as well because of also SMME challenges, which also required some work within that particular project. But Mahalis is currently working on an arrangement of ensuring that they appoint another contractor to complete the works on the ground. Then on Brett's project, Honorable Chair, Mahalis Water has since revised its completion because of this number of challenges. But the projected completion now, it's around December this financial year. Thank you very much, DDG. Back to you.
Let's get Chair through you to get Dr. Ntili to respond on Machabeng.
No, thank you very much, the Chair, Minister, and Deputy Ministers, and honorable members. With regard to Machabeng, from the 22nd of March, where the Minister has delivered about 20 pump stations, I will confirm that Machabeng local municipality had to take over and to operate and maintain those particular facilities. What is really of importance that I want also to report to the portfolio committee that we have agreed, and also through the ministry and also the premier, the site and the executive mayor, that on Tuesday, on weekly basis, we need also to check and see how the municipality and how Val Central, they are really rolling out their particular program, because at the end of the day, we need to be able to make sure that operations and maintenance as part of the business of sanitation, Machabeng as Water Service Authority, they need to take their responsibility in terms of the powers and function. But on top of that, the support that Val Central is giving, we need to also to see whether it's really matching the pace in which we are really working and the value for money that we have been allocated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me just conclude, Chairperson, just to indicate that we decided, as Minister said, I must come through. One of the fundamental challenges we have, Minister Majotina has always been concerned about the state-of-the-art infrastructure that we are making available, spending millions and millions of rands, like she's busy opening a number of projects, whether the incomplete projects, like Honorable Kekakilo was saying, whether we're actually doing these projects of unserved communities with decentralized water scheme. The problems of municipalities of putting money aside for operation and maintenance is one of the biggest issues that we need to resolve. We remember that there is a decision that part of a municipal infrastructure grant, they need to set aside 10% for O&M, but we're also in our case looking at the possibility to say, in our own grants, is there going to be any issues of relaxation for some of the conditionalities? So that when we transfer these assets, they don't get vandalized or they don't get run down by these particular municipalities. Is one of the biggest problems that we've seen, because we can't come back in a municipality where we spend a lot of money to deliver these assets. And then you have these particular challenges that are there. Equally, the decision that should just be a simple decision of the discipline by municipalities around the ring fencing of the revenue from water sales, so that one of the particular money can be used to sweat the asset, which is O&M, refurbishment, and the payment of creditors. It's a matter that we need to be able to make it more mandatory, because in certain instances, as you say, this infrastructure is being collapsed. But if you can notice, Honorable Kekakilo, a number of projects that were delayed, like we are making an example, Northwest still remains our point of concern, either by the municipalities, whether the water boards or the construction unit. And there is a concerted effort to say, let's lift up Northwest, because you go to Limpopo, Minister has pushed that thing of Guyana. Now, 24 villages are there. Now they're on phase 2 to complete the 21 villages. You look at KwaZulu-Natal, that thing of Mandlara's scheme has been there for years. That has not been resolved. A number of them, because Minister is very tight on bringing them back online, is what is actually helpful, let alone the bigger project that she normally talks about on water security, whether it's Glen William, whether it's Glosscope, whether it is Yole Soto and others. But Northwest is an area that we need to keep an eye on it, try to lift up our socks. And then Maluti Apofong, I heard you speaking about it. The team has not responded. A lot of investment has also been done in Maluti Apofong in terms of around the Sterkfontein, where an additional capacity was done, the issues of the pipelines, actually even assisting them in that particular dam, that they do have a dam, that particular dam, they were able to assist them with their pumps. And then they were not attending to issues of security. There is always these issues of vandalism. There has to be the issue of security provision, but secondly, there must be the issue of O&M. in all those pump stations that were done in Machabeng, they're the state of the art, very beautiful ones, even on how our Val Central Water Board developed a particular system to ensure that that infrastructure is secured, is some of those issues that the minister and our team in terms of standard operating procedures. But indeed, that gap of management of transition, being disciplined on O&M, is an issue that you need to assist us even when you engage with your COCTA portfolio committee, that we must insist on it. Thank you.
Thank you. There was a question on the personnel that resigned. Can we have a response on that as well?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I'd like to first ask the CFO to come in on that one, followed by the DDG for Corporate Services. CFO.
Thank you, DG. Chairperson is referring to the internal auditors, the question around the resignation. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, most of our officials, I'm sure if the chief audit executive is in the meeting, and HR will also add, most of those joined our water trading entity, internal audit unit, but there are others who have left, and DG Fundakobi will be able to assist with the question around the the exit interviews that Honorable Kehakilo was referring to. But we do have those who moved from the main account, internal audit, to the WTEDG. But regarding the exit interviews, I'm sure HR will be able to assist us on that one.
Deborah Singh.
Thank you, DG. Good morning, Chairperson and members and Minister. In terms of the interviews, when the officials resign, yes, we did conduct the interviews, and some of the officials that have left, they left because of the promotions to other institutions. But where we are able to retain, we are able to retain. We have just absorbed one of the official from the internal audit who got the promotion from outside, but we managed to counter offer, and then we retain the official. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very
Chair.
much. Yes. Who would like to
Thank you,
speak?
Chair. I was handing back to you.
Okay, sorry, DG. You can continue, DG.
No, sorry, Chair. I was handing back to you. We finished answering that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kehakilwe, that was the responses.
Chairperson, let me welcome all the responses. I am satisfied, but I have a challenge with these contractors, especially in Northwest. Most of them, they will go insolvent in this project. Next thing, they are appointed again somewhere. What is the department doing to ensure that such contractors will never, ever be given any opportunity to do work for the department? It's really frustrating that the department will pay and they will go. Somebody else will be appointed, that person will be incompetent. So it's just a waste of money. I don't know how can it be addressed so that when we allocate a project, we look at the experience of that particular person and the financial stability of that particular person to ensure that whatever that it started, it's completed. I just wanted to say that, Chairperson, and I am happy about all the responses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Minister, would you like to just say something on the latter question that she now asked?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, it is a very profound question asked to say what is going to happen. We don't appoint those contractors. But when they have not done work, we have advised our water board, we have advised municipalities that they must put them on a blacklist so that they don't get appointed again. Beyond that, what usually happens, what I've observed is that if you blacklist Majodina and Sons, then they will come up as Tole and daughters, same people. So we are not really going to be able to fully manage that as a department. Till now, we do what we are supposed to do to report and to say, let them be blacklisted. Beyond that, when they change names, because they do, there's nothing that we can do. But we can't, as the department and the boards, conscientiously know and appoint them again. It can't be us. They might be appointed somewhere, but we can't. But we take a note of that. In fact, what we said the provinces must do, working with our water boards, is to all the list of those contractors who did not finish their job, who went insolvent. It must be availed even to municipalities, so that they must not be appointed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. DG, would you like just to add something to this?
No, thank you, Chair. I'm covered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Member, I think the Minister has now given you some more information. I'm going to Honourable Ditebe. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Chairperson, all the honourable members. It's been a long break. Minister, Deputy Ministers, all the officials present in this meeting, everyone. Good morning to you all. Chairperson, thank you very much. And to all the colleagues that have asked very important questions, some of which remain moot and I think might need a further litigation, so to speak, particularly the issue that's been raised by Honorable Reddy, because I think it's something that we need both theoretically and conceptually to grapple with, so that once and for all we are very clear. Indeed, there are those solid lines and non-solid lines when it comes to the powers and functions of respective of the different spheres of government. And I think it is important for us to appreciate and understand all those related issues from an eclectic perspective. In other words, bring everything together, but also be able to isolate each one of those particular issues. And I want to start with that, Chairperson, because it's a matter that I think Honorable Reddy has been raising quite passionately, and I took the time while colleagues asked questions to look precisely at what the Constitution says in relation to what the Minister said, in relation to what the Deputy Minister said, in relation to what the DG said. And all of them, Minister, Deputy Minister, and DG, are quite correct in their articulation of their respective roles. However, if something is said, there is a denotative meaning and a connotative meaning. Now, it becomes a narrative issue. While we understand from the point of view of the Constitution and law of the Republic that these are the following functions. If you look, for example, at what the Constitution does do to enjoin all three spheres of government, in particular in Chapter 3, specifically at Section 41, and all of those specific paragraphs there. On the one hand, that particular chapter reinforces the status of local government as a sphere of government in terms of Section 156 of the Constitution. But then it says all these spheres of government are enjoined to ensure or to guarantee the well-being of the Republic and its indivisibility. And if you look at Part B, for example, of the functions, it goes on. The very last one says, water and sanitation services limited to potable water supply systems and domestic wastewater and sewage disposal systems. Now, all of that will have to be looked at in terms of the Water Services Act, Section 139, that the Minister and the Deputy Minister and indeed the DG in the past have so eloquently articulated, so that we understand that. Because I feel some of the issues raised here are both conceptual and theoretical. They are a paradigm issue. What is it that we set out to achieve when we authored our constitution and said there will be the following spheres of government? And of course, we've heard what the president has said, and the department has so ably responded to the call for universal access to water by South Africans. And I'm happy with that. Chairperson, I want to come now to the questions, because I think to be fair to everybody, we need to really go into detail with regards to what the role of the department is, etc. And I think in the process of explaining that, the department gets misunderstood. The minister gets misunderstood. And I think it's important that we deal with those issues. Chair, where, for example, a municipality such as Knysna has been fined 10 million rand, it is one thing to do that. But insofar as it is now the responsibility of the department, and it has done the correct thing to fine them, what about the aftermath? The aftercare. What happens in the aftermath of the finding of that municipality? We just pocket the 10 million rand, but what about the quality of life of the people there, the public health, the environment, etc.? Chair, one other thing that must not be missed here is that we talk water and sanitation, but you know what? At the very heart of all of that is something called economy. And without that, Chairperson, without us factoring that in the entire scheme of things, we'll be missing quite a number of important issues. For example, the issue that is mentioned about the pump stations. Those pump stations, Honorable Kehakile, relate to the wastewater treatment plants. It's not. They are not related to potable water, for example, and that is of concern. I was there with the minister, deputy ministers, in March on the 22nd, I think. And it is important that we hold all municipalities accountable. If you listen to the response by Dr. Ntidi, quite frankly, I don't think that it's convincing, because it really talks about the aspiration, what it is that they would like to see happen. I mean, we handed those over, and the public at large, the citizenry, understood that to be a handover. If later on, out of the 20 plus pump stations, we are told the municipality has not taken those over fully, what about, for example, the wastewater treatment plant that you and I and other colleagues attended, went to see the other time, Chairperson, and of course, even the minister, the one of 12 megaliters just outside, in Tabong. What about something as huge as that? If the state-of-the-art pump stations that we see when we drive around in Machabeng, and in a very good condition, security fitted and everything, they cannot be taken over by the municipality. What are the implications? Lastly, Chairperson, on Machabeng, back in March, we were told that the service level agreement would be signed anytime soon. Some 2-3 weeks later, we heard the mayor say, something will be done to ensure that the service level agreement is signed. Could perhaps the department, through the PH, tell us, the minister, through the PH in the province, tell us whether this service level agreement has been signed with Machabeng? We've just heard that they haven't paid the full amount. How much was actually paid of the 68 to 70 million rand that's supposed to be paid? By the way, it's the highest debtor in the country, and it risks destroying that water board, Minister. I prefer, as you do, Minister and Deputy Minister and everyone, the whole of government approach, the whole of society approach. It is important that society also, in line with the letter and spirit of the Constitution, is brought on board to put pressure on organs of state, the municipalities, because after all, it is their well-being that is at risk when things go wrong. So, Chair, I'd like to therefore ask with regards to the Eastern Cape, I saw something about that there was Knysna, but then that particular the design work for the new Foxwood Dam in the Eastern Cape commenced to supply Adelaide and surrounding areas. When is it expected that the first milestone, second milestone, etc., will be recorded. And what is the size of the population that is being served there? That is one province, Chairperson. If you look even at the Arbik Wisik, I think a report there, it's one of the provinces that's in the red in some respects. And we would like to know when are we recording the first milestones in respect of that. But obviously, of great interest to me, the Nandoni water treatment works in Limpopo. I think the Honorable Kehakilo has already spoken about the Northwest. Those are the two provinces because they feature prominently whenever we deal with these issues of water as well. So, Chairperson, those are my comments and questions, and I hope that the challenge that I've thrown to all of us with regards to the constitutional architecture that we have in relation to the understanding or misunderstanding that we may have about the roles of the respective spheres of government will be laid to bed so that we actually do our work of holding the executive to account. Chairperson, and I think those are the questions and comments that I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I just would like to add on the Machabeng issue on the infrastructure, the wastewater treatment plant that we've visited. I can recall that the committee has requested the minister that it not be handed over because it was indicated to the committee they don't have personnel to run that, and therefore it would have been a risk. But Minister, over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and Honorable Tebe, for those questions. Let me zoom into Machabeng. Honorable members will remember that I've been briefing honorable members on our intervention in Machabeng. We're intervening because they decided then to pay 12 million only. And they were not even consistent in that 12 million. After our intervention around, which we started in April, in January, up to April, is only then where we instructed them that according to the court, they were supposed to pay 68 million. But they since pleaded that they collect far less. And if they try to pay that 68 million, that municipality is going to collapse because they will be unable to pay salaries, ESCOM, and other services. Then we agreed that let them pay 30 million, but they must give us a clear plan on their revenue collection and how they are doing metering in the areas where there was a flat rate in Machabeng that people must pay 25 rand for water. It was a flat rate. So we said they must review that and put meters and bill people accordingly. So they started paying 30 million. To date, they are still paying that 30 million. And we said within 6 months, we are going to go back to the drawing board and check how far did they go in terms of revenue collection, because our intention is that they must pay more than 30 million because they should their target of collecting revenue was a little bit high. So we are just about to do that with them. On the issue of SLA, they've not signed as yet. They've not signed as yet, but they had a council meeting, and their council meeting assigned their legal team to finalize that. But I don't know where the delays are. What is the causal factor of those delays? Yes, the Chair. On the 22nd of March, we handed over 22 wastewater treatment plants, which were fully renovated or some were started afresh because there were those water treatment works where everything was stolen, everything, even the fence. There was nothing. We had to start afresh. But we had to hand them over to municipalities, and we told them that they must then do maintenance. The MEC for Kokta was there. The councillors led by the mayor and the speaker were there. And we said, when we hand over, it means we have to pull out, because we cannot be able to run those projects or those plans when we have not even have a budget to do that. Ours was to intervene and pull out. So if we don't pull out, how are we going to pay for that? So we pulled out, Chair, as we're supposed to pull out. Now, Chair is saying, when you pull out when there is no capacity, what do you do? It will be it will be unauthorized expenditure, Chair, if we stay and there. But I get your point correctly that unauthorized expenditure vis-a-vis taking that project back to where it was after we've invested a lot. Maybe we should have thought of something which I don't know what could be that, Chair, when we are supposed to pull out of the project, but we stay as who in the project that we've already handed over. That is within municipality assets that is supposed to be taken care of by municipality. But maybe if I can be assisted here to say how do we do that, is the conference committee going to vote for a portion of the budget that where municipalities don't have capacity to maintain their own assets, then stay there as the Department of Water and Sanitation? Surely, I don't think the portfolio committee can do that, but it is a good idea. But however, it is not we are not allocated funds to do that, even by the National Treasury. Thank you. I will request DG to respond with the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Firstly, I'd like to ask our acting DDG for infrastructure to respond about Foxwood. Lubawani.
No, thanks, DG. Honorable Chairperson, members, Minister, DMs, and colleagues. Yes, we have commenced with the detailed design of Foxwood Dam following the feasibility planning work that was carried out and gave us estimates of what the infrastructure will look like. The dam type is known. It will be a gravity dam. It's quite a wide valley, and we will need to do geotechnical investigations to understand the foundations. That will be what will take us some time, so that that information can inform the design process. It should take us about 18 months to do substantial work on the design. Following that, we'll prepare the tender documents to bring in the contractors. For a dam of that size, it will take us about 4 years of construction. So commencing from now, we are talking about 2029 or so, 2030 water delivery expectations. We have work that is done downstream as well for development of new irrigation areas. That will be planned in consultation with the agriculture department, and consultations are on the go to make sure that that is done in tandem with the development of the dam. There will also be projects that will be initiated to do water treatment distribution for Adelaide and surrounding areas. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you, Lubawani. Now, next Chairperson, I'd like to ask Risimati to answer with regard to Nandoni water treatment works. Risimati.
Thanks, DG. On the Nandoni water treatment plant, as it has been reported prior, we have appointed DBSA as the implementing agent to upgrade the plant from 60 megaliters to 120 megaliters. The project is currently under construction. The contractor was appointed. They've established site. They've started with the works. It will take us roughly about 1.5 years to fully have that 60 megaliters added to the existing one. But one of the submissions that we made, which the contractor and the implementing agent are working on, is to optimize the current treatment system, such as filters and the like, so that we still get enough output. So there is no disruption in the current production of the plant. So that is the current progress. DG, the other point that I think we need to maybe clarify, Dr. Ntili must take his time, is on Machabeng. I think Minister did address that. But what is crucial to note is that we can debate as to whether they have the capacity to maintain the current infrastructure or not. But what we, as the department, have done, working with Val Central, is to have Machabeng rather have the organogram and appoint operators who should manage this infrastructure. So all those pump stations that were mentioned, by duty, they're supposed to be maintained by the municipality, because when we do project implementation, we allow for at least 1 year rotation period where municipality must develop its own skills and appoint the right people to ensure that they take over. We have it on record on our site, DG, that they did appoint some officials that are fully operating the infrastructure, and we're monitoring that. But I would love Dr. Ntili, DG, and through your chair, just to maybe emphasize a few pointers that might have been missed, but it could be the issue of us debating as to whether as Machabeng are they doing the right job? Are they doing the right work? Do they have capacity? But as the department, part of our support is to ensure that they get to a stage where they themselves should manage the infrastructure. And that is basically what is crucial to report here. Dr. Ntili, if you can just maybe clarify those pointers quickly before we hand back to the DG. Through you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, TDG. As you have already mentioned that we had to hand over all these particular completed facilities. And immediately what the minister have also emphasized, we gave the municipality all these particular facilities to be able to man and operate and maintain. What was very important was we couldn't be able just dump them to the municipality because of the contract, which was really there on the performance and the agreement of the contractors. Contractors had to be able to assist the municipality in terms of the on-site training, and those who have to operate, they need to be able to understand how these facilities are really being operated. But also their supervisors, they had to also to understand the maintenance, the cost that needs to be incurred when we have to be able to make sure that there's a full functioning of those particular facilities and so on, and the cost which have also associated with each and every facility, which is very important. And on top of that, the municipality was also advised, and they have implemented that, to look at their organogram according to the categories and the standards of how these particular facilities are really have to be operated. And they have already started even also to appoint the relevant officials to be able to deal with that. What is also of importance to us, I want to also to emphasize, we are always having our inspectors, which are really coming independently to come and see how the operations and maintenance are really being conducted in Machabeng. On top of that, every week on Thursday, we are really having a meeting with Machabeng, where we are really looking at all these particular issues of operations and maintenance in Machabeng. But again, we do have a bi-weekly where we are also looking at the rollout and the engagement and interfacing of what Val Central is doing and what needs to be done by Machabe. And on that particular, our arrangement, we have seen that Machabe is starting to take a full responsibility on what has been given to them. But as a build-up and developing around that, that is where we can be able just to give them guidance and support them. In terms of SLA, the minister has also given what is really stated now. I had even to come to Machabe even today to be able to go to the accounting officer to look at where the SLA is. Therefore, we can be able to make sure that it's really been finalized after the council has already agreed on it. Thank you.
Is that all from the department?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Minister, before I give to the honourable member, it's like handing over a Rolls Royce to a 17-year-old child that is still on school, and you want him to drive that vehicle without a license, that has no income to maintain it. And I'm telling you now that Machabeng has showed this committee they cannot be trusted. I cannot believe that the department just throw up their hands and say, well, we've got to hand it over. You're going to go back and you're going to spend money again there, and that will be fruitless and wasteful expenditure. So I don't buy the thing of we appoint. You could have said, I've got personnel, you're going to pay for this, but we will make sure that we train people, make sure they can take this over. It's millions of rands that's been spent on that wastewater treatment plant. And I'm telling you now that we'll come in future again back on this issue where that's not been maintained. But I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it for the colleague, my colleague, Honorable Ditebe, to say whether he's satisfied with the responses. Honorable Ditebe.
Yeah, Chairperson, let me say outrightly that I am entirely not happy with the SLA issue. The reason being is that I am on record in this very committee some months ago as indeed being very cautious, optimistically cautious about what the municipality undertook to do, which simply was to sign on the dotted line to say this is the service level agreement, because the service level agreement is the framework within which the 30 million or whatever will be paid. Now, the minister spoke about 6 months, etc. It's a long while ago. We can see that it's a robbing Peter to pay Paul, and depending almost entirely on the equitable share, etc. And we know there are even other issues, the issues of energy. When we went to that wastewater treatment plant in Tabong, Tabong is the largest township, by the way, in this municipality, which is home to more than 430,000 people, thereabout. And I can tell you that the dysfunctional nature of that municipality, as you've said, lots of money has been spent on that particular wastewater treatment plant, 12 megaliters, no upgrade, but just to repair it. But it is so central to the functioning of the drainage system, the manholes and the reticulation network within that particular township, that it puts at risk the health of people, and we see that all the time. I think colleagues must understand, and I'm talking about the municipality, that while Section 41 is very clear in terms of its principles, what the responsibility of each sphere of government is, it behoves all of us, the three spheres, to ensure that the well-being of the citizens of the Republic is guaranteed. It's peremptory. It's non-negotiable. It's not negotiable at all. So I can tell you, Chairperson, that is deliberate, and it goes back to what the the AG always says about the lack of leadership in these kinds of things. I was a councillor before, Chairperson, before the 2000 dispensation. We did, in terms of the municipal ordinance of 62, the so-called Capital Development Fund, which, by the way, very ironically, was proceeds from the sale of trade-in services, right? Water, etc., electricity, and put aside. And you could dip into that. We were not drowning in, grant systems and the grant funding and all of that, but we did what we could, more with less. Of course, we did not have all the money. And it's a mindset issue. The problem with our municipalities, Chairperson, and I'm not saying that there aren't municipalities that are doing their best. It's not a finance problem. It's a mindset thing where people simply decide to prioritize things that are not important, at least in terms of the objects of local government, in terms of Chapter 7 of the Constitution and all the schedules in the Constitution, and indeed, most importantly, Chapter 3 of the Constitution. So lastly, Chairperson, the issue of the Nandoni, Foxwood, and so forth, I'd like to appeal to the department at this point in time when there is so much misinformation, disinformation, to communicate proactively. That's why I spoke about the pennants, the milestones, right? That they communicate those before those people out there on the web decide to communicate their own thing, so that people can be hopeful. In isiXhosa, there is a saying, "Ithemba libulali kodwa liyadanisa." It means, hope will not kill you, but sometimes it can disappoint you. So people will be disappointed if they are not communicated with proactively with regards to what is the expected pennant, next expected pennant or milestone with regards to this Nandoni project, this Foxwood, or any other project for that matter. In conclusion, Chairperson, very important, and the DG correctly spoke about the contract system, etc., that we put at the heart of everything that we do. And I'm not suggesting the department is not doing that, but consciously, deliberately, aggressively, the integrated social facilitation framework, which the Department of Water and Sanitation is part of, and Public Works is the lead department in that regard, so that all the objectives and all the pillars of that framework can be put to use. I said whole of government, and I know that our leadership in the executive believes in that, our bureaucrats, our technocrats, yourself, Chairperson, and the colleagues, and the whole of society approach. Let's be quite aggressive about this. Machabeng, Chairperson, has the capacity, at least potentially. It's the paucity of leadership that we are experiencing. It's not a resource issue. I can tell you, there's lots. I mean, this can be done. I don't know what the issue is with those that are in charge, but we cannot compromise what the Constitution promises our people, Chairperson, in terms of the letter and spirit of that Constitution. Thank you very much. Chair, was I audible all along?
Yeah, you were. Thank you. Honorable Kobe.
Thank you very much, Chair. Indeed, it feels good to be back, and welcome to all the honorable members, and good morning as well to the department led by the Minister. Chair, just a slight observation before I start with the delegation from the department is that our deputy minister from the DA, he's not here, but I'd just like to say I miss seeing Honorable Sitlolo and his support team as part of the delegation. But nonetheless, hopefully next time we'll be introduced to the new minister who has taken over from Honorable Sitlolo. Chair, let me acknowledge and thank the department for their report. And just maybe to dovetail on what Honorable Reddy has said already, Chair, when I look at the reporting that was done and the reporting, how it was done, Chair, there is a sense that I get, particularly when I look at program 2 and 3, that the department is not implementing or learning lessons effectively to avoid coming back to this committee and reporting on delays of projects, particularly at a planning stage and preparation and procurement issues, Chair. I believe at this stage, where we are as a portfolio committee, those are the types of things reporting that we shouldn't be receiving. I can accept that there are issues, external issues with communities and with land, accessing land when it comes to projects. But Chair, I can't accept that the department oversees delays in terms of planning processes and in preparation of projects and procurement. That must be tightened, Chair. As a portfolio committee, we need to keep a tight eye on it, particularly because once we have the delays that we are seeing, particularly in program 2, once we see that there's a ripple effect that's going to come every single time there's reporting for the next 3 quarters, because planning affects implementation, and those delays, that's the nature of infrastructure projects. We can't continue to have that. I'm going to ask specifically, Chair, when it comes to program 4, with poor contractor performance, particularly in Polokwane. The minister was in Polokwane just a few weeks ago. And with regards to the Polokwane wastewater treatment works, I just want to know, what were the interventions that are there? There's been more money that was pumped into the Polokwane wastewater treatment works. How far is it going? At what level now do they have a new contractor that has come in after the poor contractor performance of the previous contractor? And where is the project now with regards to the performance and the budget? Chair, which brings me to my next point of blacklisting of contractors, which I'm in agreement that it's difficult to blacklist contractors, particularly because they will change their names. They'll come the next time with regards to, they'll come and they'll say, we are a new company, we are Majodina and Sons. But perhaps there's a deeper conversation that needs to be had with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, with the legislative reforms that they are bringing into place, that the Council for Built Environment must then also be involved within the process of CIDB to ensure that the professionals must now start being blacklisted, because there is a heavier price to pay as a professional as opposed to just a contractor who is not liable to bodies such as EXA, which can ensure that there is better monitoring, and they'll ensure that the contractors or the professionals that find themselves with projects who are doing shoddy work are unable to work because there's a council for built environment that will ensure that they don't get work in the next project. So I think the two departments need to work better in terms of really tightening processes and ensuring that there's consequence management. We can't have councils for built environment and professionals who are working on these projects who then get to wander and go on from project to project without having consequences. So I do understand that from a contractor perspective, you can have any contractor who comes who has a company, but we want people who are registered with professional bodies to also be tied to that, so there's better consequence management. So perhaps there's a conversation that needs to be had between these two departments. Chair, my question as well with the internal audit plan, 8 resignations are admittedly a lot, and they will impact on how the department functions in terms of the internal controls and the audit action plan. But I just want to know, when do they envisage capacitating the department again, or corporate services again? Have they issued out the advertisement, and when do they envisage having people or warm bodies within the audit department? Chair, the final one, oh, no, not the final, just the second last one. I want to ask with high risk water licenses. The department's target is 95%. However, they've only achieved 67%. I just want to know, because water licenses really have a direct impact on the economy and food security and also water security, particularly when it comes to various water-dependent projects and institutions, particularly in the mining sector. I just want to know the department, how do they plan on really alleviating this backlog, and can they bring regular reports to this department to ensure that we don't have projects or mining sectors and companies that want to invest and use this water licenses, but applications are still lingering somewhere in the department. If there's an issue of capacitation in terms of human resources in that deals particularly with the applications, do they have a plan to fix them? I remember I raised one of the issues that we've got farmers in Mudimole who are talking about they're unable to access funding because they don't have, they've applied for water licenses and they're not receiving assistance from the department. And really that affects food security in the province and in the countrywide. So I just want to know the department, what is their plan, and if they can release regular reporting to this portfolio committee, Chair, with regards to their backlog. We don't want to see the 67%. We want then that 95% to be reached. Chair, and finally, and maybe just as a word to the department, that continually says that it is not their responsibility when it comes to, to communities, particularly because these communities are tied to municipalities. There is a recent court ruling that has found the department to be an egregious breach of in their constitutional mandate in Kentani community in the Amatole district. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, if it's Kentani or Kentani community in Amatole district. The minister herself has been found guilty of this, and she's required to lead a task team to create and implement a long-term water plan for these villages who are tied to municipalities. So the argument that we continually hold on to this department when communities are failed at a municipal level to say that it's not my problem, it cannot work. There is a court ruling that sets precedents and that allows the minister to intervene within these communities that have had water crisis. It is a human travesty that these communities till today don't have tapped water, and the department continues to wash its hands off and say it is the problem of municipalities. This department must take charge and ensure that there is intervention as per the court ruling, which sets precedents for future engagements. I don't think as a portfolio committee we should continue to accept it's not my problem, it's the other's problem. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable Kobe. I will let me start with this court ruling. Court will rule, but it does not make it our responsibility, though. I know that the matter is receiving attention through our legal team, because how do we take over the responsibility that does not belong to us? It's not an excuse, but it's a constitutional imperative. It has implications, and not unless the court will further say we must take over the running of all municipalities. If we get into that space, what then happened to the finances of that municipality? So it is not just a straightforward issue that court will rule, and therefore we have to get into the space. This is a constitutional country. We also respect the courts and their independence, but at times some of the judgment need thorough scrutiny. So we are dealing with that matter. On the issue of Polokwane, wastewater treatment works. That project, honorable member will remember that it was once funded by us through the Regional Infrastructure Bulk grant, but now it is with the blended finance. DDG Rismati will come in. When I was in Polokwane on the 27th of July, I was there to oversight the Seshego water treatment plant. That is the treatment plant which we have funded through the Water Services Infrastructure Grant. It is giving 10 megaliters a day. All Seshego residents now are getting water through that plant. It is a hybrid plant. It gets surface water as well as underground water. So that makes up to that 10 megaliter supply on a daily basis. I went there to check the state of readiness to hand over that plant to municipality. And municipality, through the mayor, has committed that already they are there at the plant. They are taking care of that. They are going to maintain. They are not going to let it down because it is assisting their communities to get water. So they've since budgeted for the maintenance of that plant. That is the commitment that we expect from municipalities when we have funded them. The plant, they must give that commitment and maintain so that we avoid what Chair you were talking about, that when we get out of the site, then the site collapse. But I went there so that I can get assurance from the council and the mayor in particular, which we got so soon. We'll be handing it over. So that is the new methodology that we're going to use before we hand over a treatment, whether it's a waste treatment plant or we must go and check the state of readiness for that municipality to commit that they are going to maintain the project that we are handing over. Allow me, Chair, to invite TDG Mate to respond on the Polokwane waste water treatment works. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Just to add on what Minister has said, the question asked by Honorable Kobe on the Polokwane wastewater treatment system or works. Initially, we funded that project through RBIC to refurbish the treatment facility or the treatment works. That was just to take care of the current failures in some of the filters, the treatment system there. And the department, through our RBIC, we spent about 1.3 billion. And that treatment works, just to put it on record, it's 100 megaliter wastewater treatment facility. So it's a big treatment plant. It takes bulk of the effluent in the area. It takes the effluent from the Seshego area as well as the old Polokwane. So the entire Polokwane area, actually through the outfall sewer systems, it collects to this wastewater system. At the moment, Honorable Kobe, because there had to be an upgrade of the same wastewater treatment facility, through our grant allocation, it was almost impossible to cater for the new upgrade. And this is where we went for a BFI, the blended finance application in National Treasury, where we worked with the Infrastructure Fund, currently IFISA. We can confirm that there is an allocation or approval by the BFI over the MTF of 2.1 billion. This is now to upgrade that wastewater system, and that project is currently in the procurement stage. We understand the municipality has gone out on tender to appoint the contractor to address that project. So those are the two issues. First, it was RBIC, as Minister has indicated, and now it's a blended finance, which the department, through our planning, we had to work with the IFISA to get that approval. I will, at the end of my comment, Minister, ask the provincial heads just to give the letters, but the key note, Honorable Kobe, is that plant is going to be upgraded by a further 28 megaliters a day. So we're looking roughly to get 130 megaliters a day. So you're looking at almost the similar size of your Royal wastewater, which was recently upgraded as well. And then Sis Lucy, the PH will maybe add the last part on the current progress on the ground. The other point I wanted to address, Minister, before I step out, is on the issue that Honorable Kobe has raised on the issue of planning, the issues of delays, as well as the implementation. The department has actually done well, Honorable Kobe, in terms of how we have aligned our planning, even when it comes to our RBIC-related project and unlocking whether it's a blended finance. We are doing quite well because even the financial institutions, the National Treasury, even the BFI Infrastructure Fund, they are now aligned to the department's planning regime to ensure that issues of land are dealt with, the licensing part are dealt with, abstraction, and how do you also package your project to cater for the social component as well as the economic component. Our engineers from the planning side, we have done so well to standardize that process, and hence we're able to unlock much of the finances in the sector, even on the blended finance side. However, having done that, Honorable Kobe, the biggest challenge is what even Honorable and the first Honorable who spoke, Honorable Reddy, indicated what we're having on the ground, like you've alluded to. Work stoppages happen even when you have had the servitude registered for that project, but you find people who come and stop the project, they do land claims, regardless of the planning that you have done. And this is beyond what we can do. And that's where most of the stoppages are happening, as you have said, during implementation. And of course, it affects the delays and the completion of the project. That is basically the two issues that I wanted to raise, but Sis Lucy can just step in for a minute, Chair, to clarify one or two issues on the Polokwane wastewater treatment facility and how far we are, so that we can close the matter. Thank you.
You can come in.
Lucy Kobe, Limpopo, PH, can you come in to fill up what TDT might have said?
She's unmuted, but maybe she's struggling to speak, Minister, but I've covered the point. I think we can proceed. Thanks.
Can we, DG?
Thank you, Chairperson. There were also two other questions.
Yes.
There was one question about whether our recruitment process to replace, to fill positions in internal audit where people have moved on. Ntabiseng, I'd like to ask Ntabiseng to answer that. And then there was also a question about water use licenses, which I'd like to ask Advocate Skosana to speak to, and then I'll also come in after him on that one. Ntabiseng?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, TG. In terms of the recruitment for the filling up the positions of the internal audit, the recruitment processes commence and the interviews are already underway to fill up the gaps of the positions and the vacancies that were left by the resignations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Sipo?
Thank you,
Yeah,
DG.
Chair, maybe if I can come in quickly just before she leaves the platform. The interviews are underway, but when can we maybe expect to have finalization of the process? Is it maybe by mid-August? We'd just like to know that. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The interviews there were interviews that were conducted last week, and I must just indicate once we conclude the process of the interviews, we still have to go through the process of the vetting of the potential candidates, and that takes about two weeks to verify also the qualifications of the candidates. So in terms of the timeline, we can confirm that by end of the month we would have all filled the positions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Can we go to the water licenses?
Sipho?
Thank you, DG. Good morning to Minister, Deputy Minister, Honorable Chair, and Honorable members. Yes, we've noted a decline in our performance. The target has been 85%, but we're currently performing at 68%. And we are aware that as a result of the transition and with the licensing function moving from regional offices to the newly established CMAs, there might be challenges with regard to teething problems relating to their establishment as a result of the vacancies that they might be in the process of filling them. However, we know that there are high impact licenses, very critical, and actually which are very key to economic development of this country. Now, we having a very vigilant eye with respect to that. We're doing what we call the demand pool. So we're monitoring the performance in all the CMAs. Then in all those critical licenses, we actually provide the necessary support to the CMAs and so that they can be expedited and not get delayed. We as a medium-term intervention, we looking into having the roving intervention team comprising of various specialists so that they can provide the full oversight in all the CMAs that are struggling. We've got a plan that we've finalized to that effect, and we're in the process of implementing it in earnest. Thanks, DG. I'll stop there.
Maybe just to add, I'm not sure if you mentioned, Sipho, that some of the CMAs that have been struggling in this regard have started the process of filling their vacancies for water use licensing now that the staff transfer process from DWS is complete, as I mentioned in the introduction. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kobe, that was your responses.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I just want to maybe ask the department with regards to their water licensing, if they can have maybe a geographical landscaping of where most of the water licensing applications are, so that we have a clear understanding of, are these applications pending where the CMAs indeed are still being established and they're much more weaker? And then that's where maybe because they're going to implement a roving team to assist, those would be the areas of priority so that we can ensure that this backlog is removed timeously. I can understand that because we still have the establishment of CMAs, those teething issues can affect the applications, but in the interim, when they put a team together, they must then have a geographical landscaping and understanding of where most of the issues must be unlocked. Chair, I just want to understand, just for clarity from the minister's response, is the department disputing the outcomes of the court case? Is that what the legal team is going to be disputing? Is that what they're seized with? Maybe my languaging might not be correct to say they're disputing, but are they going to challenge that finding from the courts, or is the minister going to go ahead and implement the findings of the court. I just need clarity on that. And Chair, just to ask with RBIG, I hear that DDG Mate says that they have put in blended finance, and it's because the initial money that they put in from their RBIG grant did not suffice. The Auditor General pointed out, particularly within the Capricorn District Municipality, that there's inadequate supervision of projects, which leads to these budget overruns. And now the department must get into a space where now there must be blended financing, which comprises of 2.1 billion, which is a lot of money. I just want to ask, with the initial batch, do we have the financial losses? Do we have an understanding of what happened? Is the consequence management? And how will we then better manage the 2.1 billion that is coming in? I stay in Seshego, Minister. So I know of the project that you're speaking about, and it is a state of the art. And with that work, I just want to congratulate the department. It has done well. I've also been on oversight myself. We've seen it. And yeah, indeed, the people of Seshego no longer have those issues of service delivery when it comes to water. But I am worried that the financing that continues to go into projects and there isn't sufficient oversight on it, we'll find ourselves continually putting money into these projects and there isn't any consequence management. So at that level, I just want to know, with the 2.1 billion, have we done sufficient surveying of what happened with the previous money and how this one will then be tracked and monitored? Thank you, Chair. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Minister. Would you like to respond?
Yes, thank you very much. You see, Honorable Kobe, you know I love you so much. You spoke well on Seshego. You should have just stopped there. Appreciate and don't put other frills.
No, Minister. I must still do my oversight, but we do appreciate it, Minister.
No, thank you very much. We really appreciate you when members are doing the oversight and we see progress. Because here, all of us, we are about service delivery. All of us, we want to see that the funds that we have allocated and budgeted for us make changes in the lives of our people. In terms of the Ndane, in isiXhosa, the C is it's not pronounced as K, it's C. Unlike in English, etsake is a cake. With us, we'll say take instead of saying cake. All right. No, thank you very much. Unless we are interpreting the court judgment differently. According to our understanding is that the court instructed us to develop a plan together with municipality. That we can do is not a problem. But whether or not municipality will be able to implement that plan, that is where the gist of the issue is. Because it does not say that after that plan has been developed, who is then going to take care of ensuring that the municipality implement that plan? So our legal team is still looking at that. We just want a clarity so that after we've done what we're supposed to do as this court judgment, then we must not be seen as if we are defaulting on the judgment, but with the judgment must be clear to say from here where to. Well, which it does not give that in as far as we are concerned, but the legal team is still sitting with that. Chair, that is what I can respond to. Let me invite DG and team DM Mahlobo to respond. My apology, Chair, through you, that I also have no apology from the new DM. Hence, I greeted him on the platform. I'm not aware of his whereabouts when he is not here or in the portfolio committee meeting. So we'll follow up on that, and let's apologize. We know how you miss Honorable Sisulu, but allow the party to do what they wanted to do, and leave Honorable Sisulu to rest as a member of parliament and play other roles. He has done his part this side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DG.
Thank you, Chair. Risimati will answer the question about the 2.1 billion. Risimati.
No, thanks, DG. Honorable Kobe, I think we can just make few confirmations. As I've said, we have done a reconciliation of all the previous transfers to Polokwane, even to Capricorn municipality. But coming back to what you have raised, as I've said, we are co-managing this project with the IFISA, which is the infrastructure fund, which has just been actually co-opted back to DBSA, but it's run by National Treasury. Now, IFISA is the infrastructure fund which helps us to submit applications for the blended finance. They help us in doing the pre-feasibility studies, look at the cost effectiveness, the cost benefit analysis. Now, how we are managing this project or this funding, the 2.1 billion, is that we have an agreement, there's an agreement between IFISA, the department, as well as Polokwane. So the money doesn't actually go directly to the municipality in this case. It is going to be released on each milestones achieved. And the money will be actually ring-fenced around IFISA because we have inserted those conditions at the inception of this application of the grant of the blended finance when we go to National Treasury. Now, this has put serious control measures around it. Over and above that, we have established the project steering committee, which will do regular oversight. And just to put you at more safety space, Honorable Kobe, even now that the project is now going out on tender, they've gone out on tender, the evaluation committee will also be made up of teams from IFISA, which is the team of experts. So it's not going to be done in a space where the department or IFISA is not part of it. So the whole evaluation will be done openly in the presence of IFISA as well to ensure that there's no maladministration or to try and shortcut the whole procurement processes. And during implementation, each milestone achieved will then release a particular amount. So we won't send it a bulk in advance prior to any achievement of the milestones. These are the key conditions that we have put, and we're actually putting a lot of these as we learn through the previous areas to address the issues of learning as we go forward. So those are some of the conditions we've put together to manage the project. And we've set up technical teams and engineers, even from the province as well as their office from the department, to monitor this project. So we do have that capacity. Thank you, DG. Thank you, Chair and Minister.
Thank you, Chair.
There was a question of whether the department could assist with mapping of the backlog of water licensing. DG, can I ask that maybe we receive that report from you on a later stage?
Yes, Chair, we'll do so.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kobe, I hope you are now satisfied with the responses.
Yeah, Lebo Chair, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ramaila, and then after that it will be Honorable Moore. Honorable Ramaila.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings to the Minister, the DG, and staff, my honorable colleagues, and our support staff. And let me appreciate the presentation that has been made, Chair, and say I wish and hope that the second quarter report will be a report that will be aligned to the State of the Nation address by the President when he declared water as a crisis in the country. So therefore, I would then expect that Q2 will be a complete departure from the first quarter, in the sense that it will be aligned and paced to the level of the strategic directive of the president. I think that will be necessary, so that we are going to depart from business as usual. And I would not even want to lament on those areas of underachievement. That quarter in, quarter out, we experience the same things. And I'm saying I don't want to lament on those. But except, Chair, the President declaring water as a crisis during the State of the Nation address. Subsequent to that, he established a presidential working group on water. And how the President is taking this matter serious, that committee is chaired by the President himself. And the question is, are we aligned to that approach, prioritization of acceleration of water service delivery to the people? Thirdly, Chair, the recently launched National Water Access Acceleration Plan, which obviously is oversighted by the Presidential National Water Crisis Committee, and with a whopping budget of investment budget of about 156 billion. But my question is, are we aligned to that? And I don't see that in this first quarter report. Hence, I'm saying hopefully in the second quarter report, we'll begin to see that alignment. So my question to the Honourable Minister will be that, Honourable Minister, how then does your department plan to achieve the President's water intervention targets, given that the Constitution assigns the Water Service Authority to municipalities or to municipal authorities? It does the first thing rather than to the department. And we know you always emphasize the point that there's clear segregation of powers and functions, and we do understand that part, Honourable Minister. But now, what binding legal or structural mechanism are you going to be implementing to compel failing water service authorities to align with this national directive without infringing on their constitutional powers, but also using the constitutional imperatives that are there to enable the department to intervene where necessary? But again, leveraging necessarily so on the intergovernmental relations framework. Given the background that I've given you, Honourable Minister, then how are we going to ensure that, in line with the President's directive approach, going to ensure that indeed there's going to be acceleration of delivery of water services to the people? And I think the approach by the Presidential Committee has got a mechanism to really make sure that any hurdles in the process that might be an impediment to delivery of services, that mechanism will be able to deal with those hurdles. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Thank you very much, Honourable Ramaile, for these questions. Indeed, Honourable Ramaile, you are correct that the second quarter must also be aligned to the State of the Nation address. We are going to do that. The 156 billion that you are talking about, it is all grants and blended infrastructure funding that government has set aside. This talks to COGTA, DWS, and Department of Human Settlement. It is not the money that is just for us as Department of Water and Sanitation. The Water Action Plan is a joint action report, not just a DWS. We can add on what is expected of us. There are 4, if not 5 streams in the Watercom. We are in the stream of water services. And what we are doing now, which I started with in my opening remarks, was that the department, as early as in 2025, towards the 2025, we started to look and to scan the country to say where you have a project that will be completed by 2030, 2027, 2029. And those communities have never accessed clean running water. What are we going to do? We then went back to the department after scanning the country to look at the groundwater. How far can we go to tap on the groundwater for urgent intervention, which must not replace the major water infrastructure, but in the meantime, for the 3 to 4 years, how do we intervene? We are intervening based on the budget that is allocated to us. And in that budget, we use the WISI grant. We have also called all our water entities to say on their CSI, they must also contribute. So we have agreed, therefore, that let's prioritize communities that have not been served. And we have started this decentralized water supply schemes, which is a very advanced sort of a system compared to the past ordinary borehole. The ordinary borehole, you'll go there and you start using a lot of your energy to try to pump water. But this one, a borehole, serves as a resource. Communities don't even see where the borehole is. It serves as a resource. You protect the borehole. Then you get water from that borehole through a water pipeline, taking it up to the storage tanks where that water gets purified before it can go out of the tap. So because we were saying this scheme is bringing dignity and a quality that is needed of water to our people. So this is a decentralized water supply scheme where all this is happening within this area. It's a small sort of water supply that happens, but the water is the source. It becomes a borehole other than a river or a dam, which is not nearer there. So now what as we launched this project on the 3rd of July, when we were launching Mandela Month in Mpumalanga, close to 2,000 households are benefiting out of that. But when we were rolling it out on the 18th of July to 67 water schemes that were launched on that day, something very positive is around Kekana Gardens in Amanskral, wherein the communities there, they are in partnership. The communities there have said, we have our own community society, burial society, but we are going to put a ring fence, a certain percentage that is going to maintain this water scheme. Something very important that the community is taking ownership now after we have put this notwithstanding that there's municipality, but where you get community taking a center stage to say it is us that are getting this water, we're going to protect our water, we're going to protect the infrastructure. At least that is giving us a relief to say when we roll out these schemes to all the areas that we've identified across the country, by every month, Chair, I see that I think you are worried about my time. Every month, Chair, we are rolling out these projects. On Monday and Tuesday, we'll be in a Rand West municipality on Monday, rolling out these schemes. We're also getting closer to school on sanitation as well, because we cannot really separate water from sanitation. On Tuesday, we'll be in Mpumalanga at Vichakanye municipality. So that is working. It is responding to the call by President that treat water as a crisis, to the unusual. Those are the unusual that we are doing. Thank you very much, Chair. We can allow officials to respond. Thank you. Where I did not complete.
Thank you. DG?
Yes, thank you, Chair. As the Minister indicated, we will include slides in our second quarter report on what we're doing to implement the National Water Action Plan. But as you know, Chair, legally we're required to report against our annual performance plan with our quarterly reports. And of course, our annual performance plan was developed before the National Water Action Plan came into being. We worked very closely with the Presidency on developing the National Water Action Plan. As the Minister indicated, it has 5 work streams. And by the way, that National Water Action Plan is available on the Presidency's website. Honourable members can download it from there. And if you wish, Chairperson, we can also present the National Water Action Plan to the committee, and at the same time say what our role is and what we're doing in the various work streams. So there's 5 work streams. We are either chairing or co-chairing 4 of the work streams. As the Minister indicated, we're chairing the Water Services work stream, which does include, as Honourable Ramela said, acceleration of delivery and also increasing access. And we spoke in our presentation today about our accelerated access program, and other elements as well are that we reported on today are in the National Water Action Plan, such as increasing use of the water boards to deliver projects where municipalities are struggling. The second work stream is on regulation, and we also presented some of our progress in terms of what's in the National Water Action Plan in our presentation today. We gave the example, for example, of Knysna municipality, where we got the successful court case with regard to sewage pollution. That's one of the key aspects of the National Water Action Plan as well, to strengthen that regulation. National Water Action Plan also talks about strengthening and making better use of the existing legal mechanisms such as Section 63 and Section 139, and we're working with COGTA and the Presidency with regard to how that will be done. The third work stream is about increasing private sector financing of the water sector, and you've heard and we've presented before to the PC chairperson about the work of our Water Partnerships Office and how we're supporting municipalities in that regard. And there's been quite a lot of discussion from today about some of our projects which are in our quarterly report that we're doing together with EFISA that Rizumati was talking about, with blended finance, partly funded through the budget facility for infrastructure. Then there's also a legal work stream, and we're working very closely with the Presidency. We chair that one of the Presidency. The finance one is chaired by National Treasury, but we co-chair it. And the regulation one is chaired by us and co-chaired with the Presidency as well. And on the legal one, the Presidency, we're currently chairing it, with co-chaired by the Presidency. And there we're looking at some of the issues we have presented to the Portfolio Committee. So the amendments to the Water Services Act are key in there, which is currently with the Portfolio Committee. But there are also, that legal work stream is also looking at possible amendments to other legislation, such as the Municipal Systems Act, and Section 76 through to 78 of the Systems Act, which relates to the appointment of alternative water service providers. And it's also looking at doing legal research on the possibility of constitutional change as well with regard to the water function and the possibility of moving the function from Schedule 4 Part B to Schedule 4 Part A. And then the last one is the work stream on safety and security and combating crime and corruption in the water sector, and that's been coordinated by Nat Joints. And we are participating in that and have already had a meeting and presentation with Nat Joints. So we would want to assure the committee that we are very closely involved in the work of the Watercom and the National Water Action Plan, both in terms of having participated in its drafting, and we are now very closely involved in managing its implementation in a wide variety of areas. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. I think it would be important for us to unpack this water action plan, and I will make sure that we get ample time for the department to unpack that for the committee. Honourable Ramaila, this was the responses on your questions. Are you satisfied?
No, I'm happy, Chair, with the promise by the DG that they'll make a presentation as far as that is concerned. I will just request that in the presentation, they should also present a mechanism to remove the hurdles that are the acceleration of this plan, such as if I've indicated that we must be able to leverage, for instance, on the intergovernmental relations framework and any other constitutional imperatives, so that our response should no longer be bogged down by powers and functions of the three spheres of government, but emphasizing the fact that the three spheres of government are interrelated, so that we provide one solution. And I think that's what the president expects. People out there would not understand all this, Honorable Minister, to say this is a function of the safes of the root whatsoever. But then if they can make can present a mechanism that clearly defines how we are going to remove these hurdles, I'll be very much happy. And included in that, which is a matter that I've asked several times, should be stalled projects and how those stalled projects, because they are part of the acceleration plan countrywide. How many stalled projects do we have, and how are we going to navigate around those, unlock those stalled projects? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nosipo, can we just have a look later on what date we can set aside or add it to our program to unpack the water action plan? Before I go to Honourable Moore, I see that the Deputy Minister, Jack Bloom, has joined the meeting. Minister, I don't know whether you would like to introduce the Minister to the Portfolio Committee. Minister? Deputy Minister Mthlobo?
Chair, I did not get you as well as Honorable Maile, Mama Ramaile. I don't know whether it is my connectivity or yours, but I'm struggling to get to hear you.
So thank you. We hear you now, Minister. I say that the Deputy Minister, Jack Bloom, has joined the meeting. Whether you would like to introduce the Deputy Minister to the Portfolio Committee. It seems the Minister has connectivity problems.
I don't have a connectivity problem. DM Bloom, can you open your video, please?
Yeah, hello. Sorry, my apology. It was a misunderstanding, then a connectivity problem. I'm glad to be in this meeting. Thank you.
Could you maybe just, Deputy
Honorable
Minister?
members,
My apology, Minister. Deputy Minister, can you maybe
Chair?
just put on your camera, please?
Yeah, can you see me now?
Yeah, we see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Minister.
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't hear that clearly, but glad to be with you in this committee. Thank you.
Anything else from you, Deputy Minister?
Chair, as you requested me to introduce Deputy Minister, Deputy Minister Bloom has been assigned the task of being a Deputy Minister from the 1st of July 2026. He's just a month old in office. He has been assigned the delegation on the 7th of July. I assigned him the delegation that were similar to those that DM Sitlulo had, the one of pollution register, the one of cleaning of the dams, the rivers, as well as sanitation. So he is known in the politics of the country, has been a member of the legislature of Gauteng since 1994 to July. Or to end June, he has been one of the legislatures in the Gauteng. So he's now in the Department of Water and Sanitation. Thank you very much, Chair, and to you, honourable members.
Thank you very much, Minister. Deputy Minister Bloom, welcome to the Portfolio Committee. We sit on each Tuesday from 9 till 1. In the past, the Minister and both Deputy Ministers attended the meetings to answer questions that the committee have. I hope you have a wonderful time with us, and we would appreciate your inputs when needed and assistance where the committee requests assistance from your side. Thank you very much. And now I'm asking Honourable Moore your questions to the committee or to the department and the Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson, and just a big greetings after a bit of a gap to Honourable Minister, the two Deputy Ministers, and welcome Deputy Minister Bloom, to colleagues and to the department. Thank you, Chair. I've got 3 technical questions, but I'd like to just start quickly by addressing, just to say, I think we're going to have a very difficult next few months. I'm sitting here in Joburg, one of the areas that is being intervened in most seriously from a national perspective. And I'm on, I think, my 12th water outage in just over a month in my area. That's not 12 days of water outages. I want to be clear. It's the 12th water outage, more days than that. And it's becoming, this is in winter when normally our systems handle everything a lot better. If Joburg is having this type of an issue now, we're in for a very difficult summer, and I think we need to start thinking in those terms. eThekwini, just to say, it's not just Joburg. Obviously, we heard about Machabeng. We know Machabeng is a nightmare, and I don't envy my fellow Honourable Dutebe in that situation. But eThekwini colleagues, just to say, Joburg is in I think, the worst non-revenue water situation it's ever been in. eThekwini peaked at, I think, 66% non-revenue water. It's the highest they've ever had. And I think that includes during the disaster when they had the floods that damaged their system. I think that currently now, with no major problems, they're having the worst things ever. So just to say, because it's our first time in a while, Chair, that we're getting a chance to say things are very bad and they're trending in a dangerous direction. And I think as a committee and as a department, we need to take this very seriously because obviously we're looking at quarterly reports and we get the information that we get, but we're also relied on to look after other things. And I completely support that the department isn't primarily responsible for the challenges these municipalities are facing. However, as we've seen in this committee and even today, there is pressure on us to do a lot. And I think you can see from the interventionists of the department in the water crisis committee, whatever it's called, the action plan has the department's fingerprints all over it. And I'm very glad for that. And I'm glad for the interventions I've seen in places like Joburg and eThekwini from the President's Working Committee, where the department assists. But we are facing a very difficult patch ahead of us, and it needs to be said. Putting that aside, because I don't want to give long-winded speeches, just 3 technical questions with regards to the actual presentation. Can I ask for some specificity with regards to which were the main projects in municipalities that account for the underspending with regards to the water services infrastructure grant and the regional bulk infrastructure grant? Second question, in terms of the municipal debt and the challenges that we've been having, obviously there's been equitable share, withholding, and legal action. I wanted to ask, have there been any successes that we can point to where we've seen some major interventions? I'd love it if it was with the major debtors, but with any municipalities, I'd like to know if there's any big successes that we can point to and the department can point out. And then finally, just catching up on the irregular expenditure. How are we doing in terms of actually investigating, condoning, and recovering? Because it seems like we're still stuck with billions from years ago that is taking a very long time to get through. I know that's not the focus of the report, but I would be very interested in if there's been any significant progress, or are we still just in a similar position of slogging through, which I would understand. It's been years, but I'm just interested, is there any significant progress or reasons to hope for real progress in resolving the irregular expenditure? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Minister? DG, it seems the minister has got some challenges.
Can I start, Chair?
You're welcome, Deputy Minister.
No, thank you so much. Let's thank Honorable Moore. The other issues the DG and the team will respond. One of the things that Minister has been on record, including with your support, Chairperson, was to find a way to arrest the escalating debts to the water boards, and it has increased now. And secondly, that debt was translating to the debt to the water trading account in the department. And you remember you convened a meeting of the Ministries of Finance and ourselves. And Minister, firstly, she has engaged with all various premiers and the municipalities that were owing the water boards, supported by the MEC, not only once, but a number of times. These municipalities, they entered into a debt settlement agreement that they were supposed to honor over a particular period. And some of them, they've been in a position, even struggling rural municipalities, some of them are honoring them. For an example, I know Tembisileani here in Mpumalanga, they don't owe Renmot, but it's a rural municipality. There are a number of these good examples. As a last resort, the minister has continuously engaged with the Minister of Finance. We started on certain municipalities that we've reported here, where we're holding back the equitable share, not the total equitable share, so that these entities can be paid. One of the things that has happened is that the Minister of Finance, in proceeding with that, and some finance-related issues in terms of the MFMA and the constitutional provision, decided to hold back some equitable share for a number of municipalities, not on water-related matters, but on other related matters of governance, including the issues of owing of Eskom and ourselves. I'm very pleased to say, one, when Minister intervened, Lesedi was owing for an example, Rand Water, a big amount. Then there was an issue of curtailment, and Minister Machotina intervened. There was a restoration with a commitment that money is going to be paid. And 50 million rand has been paid to Rand Water Chairperson. And equally, Johannesburg was also affected. When Johannesburg was affected, they were owing Rand Water nearly 900 and something million rands. And after we intervened to ensure that Johannesburg does the ring fencing of the function and do other things, it might not have came to the level where we want right now. Johannesburg has paid Rand Water. We have Mirafong that has also paid more than 71 million rand. Lesed have indicated they've paid in full. Mpumalanga, we had Gavin Mpegi that has paid. And then we have Randwest that have paid, Victor Kanye. There are a number of these municipalities. The intervention, Chairperson, is working. But the issues of defaulting and the viability of these municipalities, it remains one of the biggest issues that we're handling with. Equally, we know that some municipalities, in terms of viability, they will not succeed. That's why we introduced something called a debt relief regime in the department, wherein when people enter into an agreement, they are able to fulfill it. Firstly, we engage that, for an example, what do you call it, the old account, including the issues of accumulation of interest is being held back. But equally, I can also indicate that the DG, supported by Minister, we've agreed with Treasurer to say we can be able to do a more or less a similar program like we're doing with ESCOM, but on case-by-case basis, and on the basis that there is a good track record that these issues are working. And we're very happy now that the Minister of Finance with the Minister of Culture, they've find a mechanism to handle the matters better going forward. And all these municipalities' money have been released to them. But on our side, it gave us a degree of comfort. And Minister Machotina is on record. She's also saying that the government position that municipalities are owed nearly half a trillion rands, more than 400 billion is owed to municipalities. And those who are owing the municipalities, they too, they must pay municipalities. They must pay the municipalities. And that's why even the Minister of Finance were knowing that if national departments and provincial departments don't do that, every time Minister Machotina engages with premiers, we're also saying, but how much is owed to municipalities? Even our own department, ministers insisted to DG and the team that we don't want to be owing. Unless public works, we pay them, they don't pay these other people that are them. That's the approach, Chairperson, that we followed through. And we are thinking that is yielding the results. We know in certain instances, there are municipalities who are owing service providers that are related to water, and we're encouraging them to do so, because if they don't, one, the inconvenience citizens, they will not get the water if projects are not completed, but equally, they are going not to receive the revenue that they desperately need. I will then ask the DG and the team to handle the other two questions. But I thought, Honorable Moore, this thing of firmness on a user pay principle is an important decision that has been made, so that we can compel people that must pay. But we must always be balancing that not only water boards must be paid, but also those who are owing municipalities must be paid too. Thank you.
Thank you, DG.
Thank you, Chairperson. With regard specifically to municipalities which have improved their payment levels following the implementation of the withholding of the equitable share, there are quite a few. To mention a few examples, Mangaung is a very important one, which has improved its payment levels to Vaal Central Water, and that's the main reason why Vaal Central Water didn't go bankrupt. But there's quite a number of others as well. To mention a few, in Wati Municipality, in Galkamodiri, Tabazembe Municipality in Limpopo. What I wanted to suggest, Chair, is that we'll submit a report showing those municipalities which have improved payment levels as a result of the withholding of the equitable share. And then I'd like to ask, firstly, the CFO to answer the question about irregular expenditure, and then ask Wizimati to answer the question about which projects were slow in expenditure in the first quarter, which resulted in us not meeting the target for first quarter expenditure for water services. Frans?
Yes, thank you very much. Chairperson, we have indicated through the presentation that there are years where the irregular expenditure was combined, both the main account and trading account, they were at around 18 billion. I think also Minister and Deputy Minister spoke about the financial recovery plan. So all those cases that we managed to comply with the instruction note from National Treasury, they were cleared. And there were also recoveries, mainly it was ZSEP and the other one, the EOH one. Those are on record that we are still, even now, receiving the remaining monies from SIU. And then those cases that are still on the register now, we are also working with SAPS now, as well as SIU. For example, on leaks, Treasury will also indicate to us that we need to wait, for example, for the investigation by SIU to be concluded. We have done our internal determination test, and the findings were implemented, the recommendations, but we are now left with this external independent investigation, which will also confirm whether there was any loss that was incurred and whether we have achieved any value for money. And then disciplinary action as well, if there are any other indications from the investigations. So we are making sure that those that are within the control of the accounting officer, they will be cleared, as we have indicated on the presentation, that we do have incidents that we have concluded the investigations, disciplinary actions, and then the accounting officer will then write to Treasury to request for condonation. So we are hopeful as well in quarter two that those cases would be taken off the register as soon as we have those compliance requirements adhered to. Thank you, DG.
Thank you, Wizimati.
Thanks, DG. Just to answer the question from Honorable Mo, we take a picture from slide 33. I think that's where base of the question comes from, where for RBIG, we are behind in Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, as well as in Limpopo. But for WSIG, most of the provinces have done well. I've done only two provinces that have done well, which is KZN and Gauteng province. But just to put into perspective is that we did provide some of the information on slide 34 to 36 on some of the projects that are delayed. However, what we can also report, DG, is that, and Chair and Minister, is that on quarter one, we have 385 projects that are currently running. And we expect by the end of the financial year to have 437 projects that will be actively running. Now, in providing details of those projects and the reasons why there have been delays, we will be talking much on the balance of the 385 projects, portion of that. So we'll give full details, DG. It's not included fully in the slides. It's going to be a very thick document, but we can be able to provide that information. But I wanted just to paint a picture to say we do have the information. It's just that we only gave some of the examples in slide 34 to 36, but take note that 385 projects are currently underway on Q1, but over the year we'll have 437, but we'll abstract those Q1s that Honorable Mo has requested the information on. Thank you, DG. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, DG. On the municipalities that responded well, can we also get a list of municipalities that did not respond, so that this committee can take a decision whether they would like to summons these municipalities to Parliament. We cannot see that our water boards collapse because municipalities are not paying. And therefore, I think if we can receive that report as well, the committee may then take a decision to summons some of those municipalities before this committee in the next quarter. Thank you. Honourable Moore, that is the responses. Are you satisfied with the responses?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think largely with these regards to these type of issues, we're ticking along. It seems to be a positive trajectory. So I'm pleased. Obviously, I'd love to see that the big numbers of irregular expenditure finally start to drop down. I understand it's a long-term thing. I'm excited about over 400 projects underway, but obviously it's all in the proof is in the pudding of us getting them done. And I'll keep pushing on these. You know, it's a personal bugbear of mine, so I'll keep touching base on this. One thing I just had a thought of, though, Chair, just to end off, because I don't want to ask another set of questions, is just to say, is there any possibility of us getting some oversight on some of the places where the department is involved in direct interventions in municipalities? And I reference obviously the presidential working group from Joburg and from eThekwini as examples. I'm not trying to step on the presidency's toes. I'm not trying to step on anything else. I just think it matters to a lot of South Africans and a lot of people here. I realize I've just done some looking. I spoke about eThekwini. It's about 1% behind when the floods affected it. So it's pretty bad for a normal situation. And I think it'd be really helpful for us to get a more a view in there, because to be blunt, a lot of KZN's water supply problems in the Umgeni Utukela area are provided because of problems at eThekwini. So if the presidential working group there has information, it might help us in terms of how we respond to Ugu or other areas that are suffering. In the same way with the Rand water supply area, Joburg's problems cause massive problems in terms of the supply to many other municipalities, particularly the smaller ones like Merafong that have been intervened in. So if that's a possibility, I do understand if it's not, because it's not directly the responsibility of the department, but that would be very helpful. Otherwise, thanks very much, Chair.
Thank you. We will look at our program and what Parliament would allow us to do in the months ahead to the election. And then the committee can take a decision on where they would like to go. But we will bring that to the committee as soon as we have the new program. We all know this program or this term is only 1 month, and then we are on recess again. And due to the fact that we also have public participation, it takes up a lot of time, and we'll have to discuss that, what's going to happen in September. But we will have that meeting next week discussing how we're going to deal with the public participation and the way forward on that, if you are satisfied with that, Honourable Moore. And then, yeah, that is more or less. And then, Honourable Reddy, I indicated earlier that if you would like to have the follow-on question, you may then ask that now, but if you are covered, then it's fine. Honourable Reddy? Yeah, it seems Honourable Reddy has also got connectivity problems. Colleagues, thank you very much. Anything that we would like to end on? Any other member that would like to ask a follow-up question? You're more than welcome to indicate now. Honourable Kegakilwe, I see you've got your hand up. No, you showed your face, but I see the hand of Honourable Ditebe. Honourable member, you're welcome to ask a question.
Chairperson, just the last question. The minister correctly stated that there might be a UIF WNE query if they stay longer as the department beyond the prescribed period in respect of the assets which are part of the wastewater treatment works, the pump stations, perhaps even some wastewater treatment works, which I know the department, as part of WISIG, etc., has been very much involved in. And earlier on, I think the DG spoke to the issue of the National Water Action Plan, and I've just had a quick look at it. One of the remedial actions, obviously, is to ensure that there is a significant reduction in the debt of water service authorities to the water boards, etc. It's a long-standing decision of the portfolio committee. But just in respect, Chairperson, of the intervention in this regard, and I'm citing 2 municipalities and coupling that with Section 63 of the Water Services Act, and these being Mangaung, which is 1397, and Machabeng 1395. Can we not, against the backdrop of the challenges that have been articulated in this committee, just try to prioritize those in line also with the letter and spirit of the Watercom, just to ensure that projects that the department is steering through the agency, for example, of the Water Board, and not only in the Free State, but maybe in the Northwest or any other province for that matter, that we can have those accelerated. Because then if we have that closure, Chair, we'll be able to know which municipalities are the main culprits, etc. Because once we remove the hurdles, then people will be denuded of all other convenient excuses, subterfuges, etc. So could the department please assure us that that will happen? Because the point that the Deputy Minister Mahlobo mentioned, where, for example, you contextualize the intervention in respect of 139, be it 5 or sub 5 or sub 7, and reading that with Section 63 of the WSA is important. Chair, I think if the department could answer that, then perhaps this could be something that is taken to a number of other places so that we intervene as such. We may not have a Section 139 intervention in all cases, but in those instances where it is convenient for us to intervene quite aggressively, can we do that? I know it's quite a long-winded question, but that's my last question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair. No, Chair, I don't want to assure Honourable Ditebe now that we'll get into this space. But we heard what he has said. We'll have to go back to the drawing board and check what is possible, what is not possible. We will also want to appreciate, Chair, on a serious note, what has been raised by the Portfolio Committee, that in terms of the projects, we must profile the projects that have been delayed, that have been unblocked. Just give, when we profile, just give 2 sentences in terms of explanation. Where is this project? If the project has been completed, we must be able to say it has been completed. It serves so many people. So our communications is here. Honorable Ditebe said a lot about proactive communication. I think Matebula and Wisani, you are listening to that. That there's lots that we've done, Chair, but we're very less in terms of communicating such. We are taking that very positive, and we are going to do that, Chair. On the Machabeng issue, I must come back by saying, Chair, I've also engaged with the provincial government, as we know that they've also intervened in Machabeng, and there's a lot of differences between Machabeng and the provincial government. I've just spoken to the MEC now that they are approaching courts because of their own differences. So you'll understand that when it comes to Machabeng, the issue is bigger than us. is bigger than us as Department of Water. So if the provincial government also have some challenges, really it is a serious concern. But we thank you very much, Chair, for all the counseling, the inputs. We're taking others to be able to move forward and assist where we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, I believe that when the Water Services Act is implemented, it will make the hands of the Minister of Water and Sanitation more looser to act against these culprits that hide behind I'm part of COCTA and whatever the case may be. But hopefully then when that is concluded, then we could maybe move faster forward and taking away the licenses of those municipalities and then hand it over to a water board or other entity. That's how I believe it would happen. But thank you very much, colleagues, for this meeting today. If there is no further questions to be asked to the department and the minister and the two deputy ministers, then I would like to thank everybody for being here today. And then I now conclude this meeting as adjourned. Thank you very much and have a blessed day.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Chairperson.
much, Chair. Bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thanks, Minister.